To deal with my family pressuring me to get married, I paid $9.99 online to hire a girl for a fake wedding. But at the marriage registry office, the clerk looks at me with pure contempt. You're already married and you're here to register again? Don't you know that's bigamy? After walking out of the office, I stare blankly at the printed marriage certificate. The girl beside me sighs. Mr. Ryan, you're already married. Why did you pay to hire me? Then she leaves one last sentence. The deposit is non-refundable, and she runs off. I stand there frozen, still not processing what just happened. I've never even held a girl's hand. So how could I possibly be married? I look again at the printout in my hand. The man in the photo is definitely me. As for the woman, her name is Olivia Sullivan. She's beautiful, but I have no idea who she is. I take out my phone and snap a picture, sending it to a black profile icon. Find out who she is. The reply comes instantly. Got it. I push down the confusion, my chest, get on my beat-up scooter, and ride into the luxury villa district. As soon as I park, I hear the servants whispering behind me. Who is he? He's so handsome. Don't talk nonsense. He's the illegitimate son the Lockwood family refuses to acknowledge. His mother came knocking with a huge belly demanding answers. That shameless woman even keeps finding excuses to stay in the Lockwood house. But he knows his place. He moved out back in middle school. No clue what brings him here today. I frown and pretend I didn't hear, walking straight into the living room. My mother, Linda, who's been waiting at the door, immediately drags me upstairs in a hurry. Come with me to see your brother first. Oh right, did you get the marriage certificate? I reply flatly. Got it. Good. You need to remember your place. Cindy is your brother's fiancée. A top-tier elite family like hers is something an illegitimate son like you can never dream of. Only your brother is worthy of her. Mockery flashes through my eyes. Cindy chased me for 4 years in college, but on graduation day she ended up with my brother Frank. Linda demanded I find someone and get married immediately to cut off any possibility with Cindy for good. Ever since I was a child, whenever Frank and I had any conflict of interest, she would force me to back down unconditionally. I look at her coldly. Let's be clear, this is the last time. This time is to repay her for giving birth to me. Linda nods like she understands. We arrive at Frank's room. He greets me with a smile. Ryan, what brings you here? Before I can speak, Linda jumps in. Frank, Ryan got married today. Frank's face shows surprise. That fast? Who's the woman? Is she better than Cindy? Linda sneers. How could she be? In all of Haicheng, no one has higher status than Cindy. What decent woman could he find? Just some street thug. He didn't even dare bring the girl here, afraid her trashy look would offend your eyes. Frank's voice carries a hint of jealousy. How could that be? Ryan is so handsome, otherwise Cindy wouldn't have chased him for 4 years. Handsome means nothing. With his status, only some random nobody would marry him. Cindy just treated him like a toy, something to play with. Only your status is worthy of Cindy. The woman in the photo doesn't look anything like a street thug, but I don't bother arguing. At this moment, Frank finishes putting on his watch and wants to put on his leather shoes, but finds his shirt too tight to bend over. He smiles slightly and looks at me. Linda immediately shoves me. You useless thing, how can you still be so clueless? Your brother can't bend down, hurry up and put his shoes on for him. My expression turns cold. You can put them on him yourself. Ryan, what's that attitude? You think you can just fly the coop just because you got married? You're still going to depend on the Lockwood family. Linda raises her voice. If you don't make nice with your brother now, one day you and your wife will come begging him. Besides, the Lockwood family raised you. You should slave away for the Lockwoods. Before I can argue back, my father Richard suddenly appears at the door. An important guest is coming any minute. What are you arguing about? Linda immediately starts complaining tearfully. It's this ungrateful brat. He got his marriage certificate today, and now he doesn't respect me as his mother anymore. Richard looks at me. You got married. Why didn't you let the family arrange someone for you? Do you have the certificate? Let me see it. Facing this stranger of a father showing concern, I pause, then take it out of my bag. The next second, Linda snatches it away. Let me see what your thug of a wife is actually called. Meanwhile, Frank asks curiously, Dad, who's coming? Why are you so nervous? Richard thinks of that person, and instantly feels his home has been blessed with great honor. Then he excitedly says a name. Olivia. Hearing this name, I freeze instantly. Seeing our confused looks, Richard proudly explains, It's normal that you don't know her. She's very mysterious. Even I've never seen her. She's Cindy's aunt, only 28 years old, yet she's already become the real person in charge of the Sullivan family. Linda gasps instinctively. Then doesn't that make her a better match than Cindy? After all, the real person in charge of the Sullivan family sounds way better than some eldest granddaughter of the main branch. Richard says irritably, What are you talking about? Miss Sullivan is already married. I narrow my eyes. Married? If the woman on the certificate really is her, then it seems Olivia must know what's going on. Linda feels slightly disappointed. Who's her husband? Even more blessed than Frank? Richard frowns in thought. No idea. They say neither she nor her husband enjoys social events. But today, why is she coming in person? Linda declares firmly, It must be because Frank is too outstanding, catching the attention of the Sullivan family. After saying this, she shoves the unread printout back into my hand, grabs Frank's hand, and laughs with excited mockery. Look at her, she's even more invested in Frank than Mrs. Lockwood, his real mother. Just then, the butler comes upstairs to announce that the Sullivan family is almost here. Hearing this, Richard hurries downstairs. As he passes me, he casually says, You haven't been home in a long time. Stay and have a drink to celebrate. I nod along. I want to stay and see who Olivia really is. Back in the room, Linda looks at Frank, who's about to marry into an elite family with uncontainable joy in her eyes. Over 20 years ago, if Sophia hadn't shown up, the one who would have married Richard would have been her. So she hates Sophia. So as revenge, seeing that Sophia gave birth on the same day as her, she swapped the two babies at the hospital. Now, her own biological son, Frank, has become the young master of the Lockwood family, while I, the real son, became the despised, illegitimate child. After going downstairs, I lean against the shadowy corner by the staircase, staring at the doorway, quietly waiting for the Sullivan family to arrive. After some time, Mrs. Lockwood, Sophia, comes down supported by a servant. She wears a purple cheongsam, her figure thin, radiating a scholarly elegance. The young servant whispers, "Madam, your health isn't good. Maybe you shouldn't come down." Sophia shakes her head between coughs. "No, this is such an important day for Frank. I can't miss it." I watch her back, my eyes full of childlike adoration and reverence. It's almost laughable. In the Lockwood family, she's my only source of warmth. When I was little, Linda often didn't give me food. After Sophia caught her doing this once, she started regularly leaving food for me in the garden. This continued for 12 years. If not for Sophia's kindness, I probably would have given up on myself long ago. Watching Sophia walk further away, hearing her cough echo back from time to time, I frown with worry. Just then, there's a stir at the door. The Sullivan family has arrived. Richard and Sophia greet them at the door. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, they step aside. A group of people sweeps grandly through the door. I immediately spot Olivia. Her face is even more beautiful than in the photo, her aura cold and sharp. Sensing my gaze, she suddenly looks over. That sharp gaze makes my heart skip. I want to read further into her eyes, but Olivia withdraws her gaze and looks elsewhere, leaving me confused. Does she recognize me or not? Richard smiles flatteringly. "Miss Sullivan, where's your husband? He didn't come with you." The moment he says this, I feel Olivia glance at me again. "He's busy." Just like that, the crowd ushers her toward the reception hall. Cindy, who chased me for 4 years, follows behind. In her formal dress, she looks more mature and composed than in college. She doesn't see me, just chatting absent-mindedly with Frank. I stand quietly off to the side, but Linda grabs my arm. She lowers her voice and scolds, "Ryan, what are you still doing here? Don't tell me you still haven't given up on Cindy. Let me tell you, she's your sister-in-law now." I shake her off with a mocking smile. "Relax, I have no interest in being someone's side piece. Mr. Lockwood asked me to stay for a celebratory drink. Ever since I could remember, I've called Richard Mr. Lockwood." Linda grits her teeth in anger. "That was just him being polite. You actually believed it? I see you really don't know your own worth. On an occasion like today, even I can't go in to avoid embarrassing the Lockwood family. Are you, an illegitimate son, fit to sit at the table? Get out of here right now." I frown impatiently. Just as I'm about to speak, I notice Olivia walking toward the balcony to take a call. I brush Linda off and turn to follow. As I approach, Olivia, who is on the phone, hangs up the call. Then she looks at me with an icy gaze. My steps falter. Meeting her dangerous look, I curl my lips and try a tentative greeting. "Honey." Olivia's eyes stay frigid. I stare directly at Olivia, watching her reaction. But after hearing the word, she only looks at me with even colder hostility, showing zero emotion. Then she turns to leave. I quickly step forward to block her path. "You don't recognize me?" Olivia looks down at me. "Move. Should I know you?" "Sir, I'm married. Please show some respect." I'm a bit dazed. She clearly doesn't know me, yet she says she's married. Could the registry office have made an error? "Excuse me, who is your husband?" "None of your business." Another 4 icy words. I pull out the copy of the marriage certificate and hand it to her. "Miss Sullivan, the woman on this should be you, right?" Olivia's eyes land on the man's name. She sneers. "Mr. Ryan, an original certificate isn't expensive. If you're going to forge one, at least be professional about it." With that, she doesn't return to the living room. Instead, she walks briskly through the small garden toward the parking lot. I chase after her, trying to explain, but 2 bodyguards block me. I shout at her retreating figure, "Miss Sullivan, this certificate is real. If you don't believe me, you can check at the registry office." Olivia gets in her car and drives away. Her personal assistant stays behind. I return to the living room and run right into Frank, who happens to have seen me bothering Olivia. His eyes flicker. Richard is full of worry. "Why did Miss Sullivan leave? Did we not treat her well enough?" Frank clenches his fists, his tone hesitant. "I saw Ryan bothering Miss Sullivan. She left in anger and left a message saying you should better discipline your family." "Ryan acting like this, will the Sullivan family think we have no manners?" Richard's face instantly darkens. Meanwhile, I lose track of Olivia on my scooter. Just as I'm frustrated, my phone suddenly rings. I answer and a female voice comes through. "Boss, I found the info on Olivia. Olivia is the second daughter of the Sullivan patriarch. Rumor says she's cold and ruthless, which is why she was sent abroad as a child. Everyone assumed the Sullivan family would go to the eldest son, meaning Cindy's father. But no one expected Olivia to suddenly return last week. No one knows what ruthless tactics she used, but she forced Master Sullivan to step down and took direct control of Sullivan Group." I frown. "Find her contact information and schedule. I'll go find her later." After hanging up, I rub my temples. This is getting complicated. Given Olivia's status, seeing her isn't easy. I shouldn't have run my mouth today by calling her honey, scaring her off. I sigh, start up my beat-up scooter, and head home slowly, leaving the bustling city center behind and arriving at an urban village in the suburbs. When I moved out of the Lockwood house back in middle school, I didn't have much money, and could only rent an old house here. Later, I got used to it, and never moved. Just as I'm about to turn the corner toward home, an old lady in her 80s or 90s suddenly darts out into the road. I slam on the brakes, almost hitting her. At first I think she's a scammer, but I quickly notice she's dressed elegantly. Around her neck hangs a tag with a contact number on it, and a note at the bottom. If this person is lost, please call the number. A generous reward will be given. Clearly, the old lady has Alzheimer's. I immediately take out my phone and type in the number on the tag, but the dazed old lady suddenly grabs my wrist, her eyes lighting up. Grandson-in-law, you're my grandson-in-law. My mouth twitches. Single for 22 years, how did I get another wife today? I find it amusing and ask casually, Grandma, who is your granddaughter? What's her name? Oh right, her name is, what was it again? The name she just remembered slips away the moment she tries to say it. The old lady looks anxious, her mouth opening and closing, unable to get the words out. Grandma, don't worry, it's okay if you can't remember. I comfort her and then dial the number. On a street not far away, Olivia sits in a car with a grim expression. Beside her, her subordinate Liam doesn't even dare to breathe. It's my fault for not watching her properly. I let old Mrs. Sullivan get lost. Olivia says nothing, radiating cold fury. Old Mrs. Sullivan is usually out of it most of the time. Who could have predicted she'd suddenly improve today, send everyone away, and sneak out? Reviewing the security footage, they discovered old Mrs. Sullivan had taken a bus to the suburbs herself. Many streets here don't have cameras installed, so they can only do a blanket search. Just then, her phone rings. Olivia answers immediately, and my calm voice comes through. Hello, your family's elderly lady is currently in my hands. Hearing this, the atmosphere in the car freezes instantly. Everyone springs into action. Someone prepares to call the police, while Liam starts tracing the call's signal. Olivia's eyes turn sharp, her voice ice cold. How much do you want? Just kidding. I just wanted to tell you to take better care of the elderly. Then I give her the address and hang up. 5 minutes later, they arrive at the location, but I'm long gone with only a police officer waiting there with the old lady. Olivia asks, how did you end up here? Old Mrs. Sullivan says mysteriously, I came to find my grandson-in-law. He lives nearby. Olivia pauses. Grandma, there's no grandson-in-law. Impossible, I saw him. That heartless boy handed me over to the police and left. Oh right, give me your phone. Olivia hands her the phone, and the old lady takes the recent call number from the contact list and writes it down in her little notebook. She says happily, finally, I have my grandson-in-law's contact info. Early the next morning, I receive a call from my university advisor, Professor Walker. Walking into his office, I see Frank and Linda are there too. Frank and I both attend Haicheng University. He sees himself as a top student, so to avoid outshining him, I deliberately chose the most obscure major, energy and power engineering. But I never expected new energy to suddenly explode in popularity 2 years ago. Frank immediately transferred and became my classmate again. Frank being here is somewhat normal, but why is Linda here? The moment I think this, Professor Walker speaks with a serious expression. Ryan, your graduate school recommendation has been revoked. Your mother said your character and background are unsuitable, which disqualifies you. Is there some misunderstanding between you and your mother? Hurry and apologize to her. You have a bright future, don't ruin it over a moment of anger. Frank sighs. Professor Walker, Ryan's mother is doing this for his own good. He turns to me. You offended Miss Sullivan. She announced she'd make you disappear from Haicheng. It takes me a moment to realize Miss Sullivan refers to Olivia, but I only said a few words to her. Besides, when she left yesterday, she didn't seem angry at all. On the other hand, Frank is a habitual liar. While I'm thinking, Frank walks up to me. Ryan, Dad bought you a plane ticket. He wants you to go abroad to lay low, otherwise even the Lockwood family can't protect you. Mockery flashes through my eyes. Isn't he just afraid I'll drag the Lockwood family down? Seeing I won't take it, Frank pulls out a bank card. Are you worried about how to live abroad? This has 50,000 yuan on it. It's living expenses from me personally. Use it for now. If it's not enough, I'll give you more for my allowance later. The young master of the Lockwood family only has 50,000 yuan? I find it laughable. Linda suddenly snatches the bank card. Frank, what are you doing? The Lockwood family buying him a plane ticket is already more than generous. She glares at me and commands, pack your things and leave the country immediately. I've already filed your withdrawal from school. I look at her coldly. What gives you the right to make decisions for me? Because I'm your mother. Besides, with your grades, you probably can't even graduate. You might as well go work abroad and make money sooner. Professor Walker can't help but speak up. Ryan's mother, you've misunderstood. Ryan during his time at school. Before he finishes, Linda cuts him off. Professor, you don't need to speak for him. Don't I know what he's like? He's only doing graduate school because Frank is. He should take a good look at himself in the mirror. What does he even amount to? What qualifies him to compare with Frank? Professor Walker chokes, looking at Frank in surprise. I remember you didn't get a graduate recommendation and didn't take the entrance exam either. Frank smiles humbly. I took the special admission route. When the professor asks for details, he feigns modesty. It's because of Dr. Ray. His hydrogen-based clean fuel research succeeded, got a patent, and earned him a doctoral title. I'm internally puzzled. Dr. Ray? Since when am I giving Frank special admission? To repay Sophia's kindness, I've been providing tech support to the Lockwood Corporation under the name Dr. Ray all these years, and fabricated a backstory of being a sponsored student. Meanwhile, Frank keeps spinning the lie. My mom once sponsored Dr. Ray's education, so after he completed his studies, he came to our family saying my mom was his savior. All these years he's been providing tech support to our family company. He shouldn't refuse me. Professor Walker believes it and asks where Dr. Ray works. He says, The dean will invite Dr. Ray to teach at our university. Professor Walker is delighted and says to me, Ryan, your research direction is the same as Dr. Ray's. When the time comes, I'll introduce you to him. If Dr. Ray is willing to put in a word for you, maybe your graduate recommendation can still be saved. Frank pretends to be concerned. Professor Walker, would that work? The Sullivan family is the richest in Haicheng. They donate a lot of research funding to our school every year. Dr. Ray is in high demand right now. If Dr. Ray steps in, the school will definitely side with him. Frank sighs. But Dr. Ray only does favors for my mother. If it's for me, he'd help wholeheartedly. But Ryan is my dad's illegitimate son and stands against my mother. Ryan, how about I ask Dr. Ray for you? I refuse with a cold smile. Frank right now is like a pathetic clown. I say to Professor Walker, you know I never wanted to do graduate school anyway. Linda sneers. Don't waste your effort. After offending Miss Sullivan, you think you can find a job in Haicheng? Keep dreaming. I don't believe anyone can rule Haicheng with one hand. If you really can't find a job, come work as my teaching assistant. Professor Walker, fuming, turns to speak gently to me. My heart warms. Professor, Miss Sullivan and I just have a small misunderstanding. Once it's cleared up, it'll be fine. Don't worry. Seeing this, Frank clenches his fist, his tone snarky. Ryan, are you really going to keep pestering Miss Sullivan? She's married. What you're doing is really inappropriate. Linda's anger ignites, and she suddenly slaps me across the face. I look at her in disbelief, not expecting her to hit me right in front of Professor Walker. Without a trace of guilt, Linda points at my nose and curses. It's been a few years, and I see you've forgotten the family rules. Apologize to your brother right now, and promise you'll never go near the Sullivan family again. The warmth slowly drains from my eyes, leaving nothing but coldness. Clearly, my words about the last time the other day meant nothing to her. Does she still see me as that submissive, ignorant boy who worshipped Frank? Since reason won't work, I won't hold back anymore. Frank watches from the side, feeling smug inside. In the childhood, Ryan groveled before me, never talking back, never fighting back. After he moved out, I ran into him again at university. He still looked just as poor and shabby, yet he dared stand up straight in front of me. A few years without a beating, and he's forgotten his place. Today, let Linda teach him a real lesson. Just as Frank thinks this, I walk slowly up to him. Just as he curls his lips, thinking I'm about to apologize, I suddenly look up and punch him hard in the face. Frank's head spins, momentarily stunned. Linda rushes over, screaming, Ryan, how dare you hit him? I whip my head around, radiating killing intent. Linda freezes in place, shocked by my expression. What are you going to do, you ungrateful brat? I'm your mother. Are you going to kill me? My voice turns icy, each word slow and deliberate. You weren't a kind mother, so don't blame me for being an unfilial son. Don't interfere with my life anymore. If you do anything to me again, I'll repay it twofold on Frank. I withdraw my gaze and bow deeply to Professor Walker, thanking him for taking care of me these 4 years, and saying I'll be back once things are resolved. After leaving those words, I turn and leave without hesitation. Only after I disappear from the room does Linda slowly come back to her senses. The moment I step out of the school gate, Jenny calls me. Boss, I figured it out. I know why Olivia tells everyone she's married yet doesn't recognize you. The Sullivan family looks glorious on the outside, but a family that big has had brutal internal struggles these past few years. Master Sullivan favors the eldest son's family and wants to hand the Sullivan family over to the main branch. Olivia, as the youngest daughter, has been suppressed all along. A few years ago, Master Sullivan picked some unreliable men for Olivia and tried to arrange a marriage. It caused a huge uproar at the time, until Olivia announced she had already registered a marriage with a husband from an ordinary family. Only then did the matter drop. And speaking of this husband, it's quite interesting. He's never appeared in public, nor attended any Sullivan family banquet. So putting it all together, there's only one truth, and that is... Jenny drags out her words, trying to build suspense. But before she can spit it out, I've already figured it out. Did you find her schedule and contact info? Jenny pauses, embarrassed. I'll send you her schedule for the next few days, but her private number, I couldn't find it. It's fine, I'll go corner her in person. Someone of Olivia's status keeps her private number tightly guarded. Not being able to find it is normal. Jenny immediately turns gossipy. She's surrounded by bodyguards, not easy to approach. Are you planning to use force, or stay low-key for a while? A roguish smile curls at the corner of my lips. At the entrance of Sullivan Group, I straighten my delivery uniform, walk in carrying a delivery box, and say to the receptionist, "Delivery for Ms. Sullivan. Requires her personal signature." After the receptionist calls the secretary's office, I'm allowed upstairs to take the private elevator to the 88th floor. Walking out of the elevator, the view instantly opens up. An entire floor of secretarial staff, over 100 people, all work here. All serving just one person, Olivia. I follow the secretary who comes to meet me, smoothly arriving at the CEO's office, and knock on the door. A pleasant voice comes from inside. "Come in." Just as I think I'm about to meet Olivia successfully, a figure suddenly blocks me. "Stop!" Liam frowns as he sizes me up. "Mr. Ryan, what are you doing here?" Liam's face darkens. He still remembers me harassing Olivia at the Lockwood house yesterday. Olivia didn't bother dealing with me, and yet today I have the nerve to push my luck even further, dressing up as a delivery man to harass her. He waves over 2 bodyguards. "What's going on? You don't even check identities, and now any random nobody can come to the top floor? Throw him out immediately. Change." "What is that supposed to mean? Does Sullivan Group look down on delivery workers?" Liam sneers. You really know how to play the victim. We respect every profession, but are you a delivery worker? Do you have a delivery worker ID? The moment Liam says this, a work ID is shoved right in his face. His expression stiffens. You didn't just register today, did you? The ID in front of him is opened, showing the registration date. Liam is stunned. 8 years ago, you were actually a delivery worker? Working through school, is that not allowed? My voice is lazy. I call out toward the door. Miss Sullivan, can you cooperate with my work now? A pleasant voice comes from inside the room. Let him in. I shoot Liam a provocative glance. Just as he's about to explode, I walk past him into the room. Olivia's office is in a minimalist luxury style, making the space feel devoid of any warmth. After signing the document in her hand, Olivia finally looks up, her bright eyes showing zero emotion. I point at the delivery slip. Miss Sullivan, sign here. Her gaze lingers on me for a moment. Then she picks up the pen to sign. Suddenly, I drop a bombshell. Miss Sullivan, you're not actually married, are you? The pen freezes mid-stroke. Her cold gaze locks onto me. I know I've guessed right. At the registry office, personal info has to be filled in by hand, so mistakes are impossible. Olivia claims to be married yet doesn't recognize me. Combined with Jenny's investigation, the only truth is that Olivia, to deflect her family's pressure to marry, invented a fake husband. She's never been to the registry office, so she doesn't know we're actually married. I say earnestly, Miss Sullivan, I know my words sound absurd, but we really are married. Olivia slowly straightens up, a flicker of amusement on her face. Mr. Ryan, don't waste your effort. Even if I were unmarried, I wouldn't marry you just to spite Cindy. I'm slightly stunned. So she knows about my past with Cindy and thinks I came to her for revenge. That's why she won't believe me. I quickly explain, I'm not looking for you because of Cindy. I want to divorce you. I'm not interested in your romantic drama. Olivia cuts me off. She signs the slip with quick strokes and hands it back to me. Don't come bothering me again, or don't blame me for getting nasty. Hearing this, I get a bit heated too. Haven't you already gotten nasty? You announced you'd make me disappear from Haicheng. Olivia frowns. When did I? Before she can finish, her phone suddenly rings. It's Grandma's special ringtone. She answers immediately, and the caretaker's voice comes through. Miss Sullivan, the old madam is missing again. Olivia rushes out anxiously. I try to follow and clear things up, but Liam blocks me again. Mr. Ryan, I suggest you stop here. Just like that, I'm escorted out of Sullivan Group. As soon as I reach my front door, I suddenly turn around and see the same old lady from before tiptoeing sneakily behind me. I sigh helplessly. Just as I'm about to speak, the old lady grabs my wrist. Grandson-in-law, don't even think about abandoning me again. Inside my rented apartment, the old lady sits at the dining table and drinks 3 cups of water in a row. I frown and say earnestly, I really am not your grandson-in-law. Yes, you are. The little old lady is stubborn, holding her water cup and gulping down another one. I know I can't reason with her. I take out my phone and dial that number from before. It's answered on the first ring. Hello? The woman's voice sounds vaguely familiar. Just as I'm about to speak, the old lady suddenly snatches the phone away. At this moment, Olivia is leading a search party nearby. Her face stays composed, but inside she's anxious. Grandma doesn't just have Alzheimer's. At 87 years old, her organs have long started failing. Her life could be in danger at any moment. The instant her phone rings, she answers immediately, and Grandma's strong, energetic voice comes through. You naughty girl, don't come pick me up. I'm with my grandson-in-law. The number belongs to that young man from before, so Grandma is with him again. Olivia asks with a dark face, where are you? Not telling. You think I can't find you just because you won't say? Don't come looking for me and don't send anyone to track me. Olivia scratches her head, covers the receiver, and quietly asks the family doctor, can we forcibly bring my grandma back in her condition? The doctor shakes his head and whispers, old Mrs. Sullivan cannot be agitated right now. It's best to go along with her wishes. That young man doesn't seem like a bad person. Olivia looks helpless and coaxes into the phone. Grandma, I still need to bring you your medicine. No need, I have it with me. Don't worry, just wait patiently while I bring your grandson-in-law home. After saying this, the little old lady hangs up. She hands the phone back to me with a smug look. Grandson-in-law taken care of. My face is full of confusion. What kind of unreliable family is this, just handing an old lady over to a stranger? Just as I'm about to call back, WhatsApp pings. Someone is adding me as a friend through my phone number. The note says, granddaughter of the elderly lady. I accept the request, and her granddaughter quickly sends a message. Please look after my grandmother for a while. Her health hasn't been good lately. She can't be agitated. I scoff and reply coldly on my phone. Not convenient. This isn't a charity. Before I finish typing, I suddenly hear movement from the kitchen. I rush over and find the old lady boiling an egg. I ask casually, hungry? You can't just eat an egg. Her wrinkled face breaks into a gentle smile. Grandson-in-law, press this egg on your face. It'll help with the swelling. I freeze. Maybe I hadn't even noticed myself, but after being hit by my own birth mother today, although I seemed unbothered, there was actually a layer of coldness wrapped around me the whole time, separating me from the world. The old lady's words now melt the coldness away, warmth returning to my eyes. Then, I look at my phone again, and her granddaughter's chat suddenly turns orange. A transfer of 300,000 yuan has arrived, with a note saying, this is 1 week's living expenses. If it's not enough, let me know. I look at my unfinished message and rewrite it. Fine. I don't understand why I'm suddenly meddling in this. I tell myself it must be because she paid too much. Meanwhile, at the Lockwood house, Frank's cheek is swollen high, the fist mark clearly visible. Linda lowers her head. That brat, he must be jealous that you're going to marry Cindy. When your father gets back, I'll have him punish Ryan severely. Just then, Sophia comes downstairs, dragging her sickly body. Her voice is weak but her tone is firm. Ryan isn't that kind of person. You must have done something to provoke him first. Seeing this, Frank, though unwilling, changes his approach. Mom, could you invite Dr. Ray to serve as a professor at Haicheng University? Sophia immediately refuses sternly. Frank, you can't leverage past kindness for personal gain. Besides, Dr. Ray has already done more than enough for our family's company over the years. Frank isn't surprised at all. Haicheng University is the best university here. Maybe Dr. Ray wants to go himself. We could just help connect him with the school, just consider it repaying him for all these years of help. Sophia finds this reasoning sound, so she takes out her phone and opens WhatsApp. I'll ask him then. Frank sits beside Sophia and says, Dr. Ray has done so much for our family. Any debt of gratitude has long been repaid. Shouldn't we host a banquet for him? Then you can ask him in person. Wouldn't that be better? Dr. Ray always grants Sophia's requests. As long as he comes, Frank can then propose becoming his graduate student, and Dr. Ray definitely wouldn't refuse. Sophia is convinced by him. She messages Dr. Ray on WhatsApp. Ray, do you have time to come over for a visit? The moment I see this message, my heart leaps into my throat. Why would Sophia suddenly want to meet? Could her health have gotten worse? Thinking of her cough, I'm overwhelmed with worry and stand up to head out. Yes, I'll come over now. But just as I'm rushing to leave, another message comes through on WhatsApp. Not now, I'm just working overtime on Saturday, wanted to invite you for a casual meal. Only then do I realize worry had clouded my judgment. Thinking back to 10 years ago when I was pushed out of the Lockwood house, a bitter smile tugs at my lips. After all these years, I suppose we should meet. I reply, I should be the one treating you. Saturday at 6 p.m. See you. Then I send a restaurant location. After exiting my chat with Sophia, I notice Olivia has sent a few messages with instructions on caring for Grandma. Seeing this, I quietly step into the spare bedroom and shoot a short video for Olivia. On a street not far away, two fully equipped chauffeur vans sit discreetly parked. Olivia is on the sofa, working on her laptop. Suddenly, a WhatsApp notification chimes. Olivia picks up her phone to check it, and her ever-frozen iceberg face actually shows a hint of surprise. The family doctor asks, Did something happen to old Mrs. Sullivan? Olivia presses her lips together and hands the video over for him to see. There's old Mrs. Sullivan lying on a small floral print sheet, sleeping peacefully. It's only 9 p.m. Normally if she falls asleep before 1 a.m., they're already grateful. The family doctor is shocked. Old Mrs. Sullivan really is different around this young man. If he can stay with her continuously, her health is bound to improve. Olivia's gaze deepens, as if pondering something. The next morning, I receive a message from Olivia. As we go back and forth, Olivia starts feeling like she's chatting with an old friend. She suddenly asks, Can I come visit Grandma tonight? Of course, you're welcome anytime. Then I send her the address. Meanwhile, outside, I'm waiting around bored when a familiar voice suddenly comes from behind. I turn around and meet a familiar face. It's Cindy. The gentle, considerate face I remember is now darkened as she stares at me. In college, I was always alone while Cindy was warm and outgoing, always by my side. She was practically my only friend. But now, our situation is a bit awkward. I hesitate, then say, Did you need something? Cindy sneers. Frank told me about your background. Why did you hide it from me? While I, like a fool, chased after someone like you for 4 years. Was that fun for you? My chest feels like a giant hand is squeezing it hard. I never thought 4 years of friendship could be shattered so easily. I step back to put distance between us, but Cindy steps forward and demands, Don't you have anything to say to me? I let out a mocking laugh. No. I turn to leave. Since she looks down on my background, this friendship isn't worth keeping. My decisive attitude irritates Cindy for some reason. Seeing me walking further away from her, she grabs my wrist without thinking. You can't leave. I turn to look at her. Anything else? Cindy's face tightens, anger rising in her chest. She doesn't understand. She's the one who let go first. How is it that now it feels like she's the one being abandoned? Then I hear her mocking voice. Still working a side job here, so you haven't found a real job yet, right? Why don't you come be my personal assistant? I shake off her grip and coldly refuse. I'm afraid I'm not qualified. But Cindy persists. You don't have to do anything. I have an apartment near my office. You just need to live there and serve my daily needs. 50,000 yuan a month. Is that enough? My eyes turn cold instantly. You want me to be your kept man? Cindy scoffs. You're definitely qualified for that. After all, your mother was a side piece herself. You've been steeped in it since childhood. Call it a family tradition. I'm sure you'll be a pro. Hearing this, I throw her to the ground and look at her coldly. Enough. But after standing up, she laughs instead of getting angry. I'll give you time to think it over. Change your mind. Come find me anytime. After leaving these words, Cindy walks away. I laugh at myself bitterly. That evening, Olivia leaves work on time and arrives at the old suburban neighborhood, carrying medicine in her hand. She knocks on the door at the WhatsApp address. Seeing Grandma looks healthy, only then does Olivia look around. Although it's just a 60 square meter 2-bedroom apartment, it's clean and cozy. But the sound of running water comes from the bathroom. Someone is showering. Olivia withdraws her gaze as if shocked. The family doctor follows behind her, about to enter, when she stops him. Give me the equipment. Wait in the car. Olivia quickly checks Grandma's blood pressure, blood sugar, heart rate, and so on. Maybe because Grandma slept well last night. All the readings are remarkably healthy. Old Mrs. Sullivan proudly, My grandson-in-law takes such good care of me. Seeing is believing. Olivia finally relaxes. Her gaze drifts toward the bathroom one more time before she finally packs up the equipment. Since you're fine, I should be going. Old Mrs. Sullivan is taken aback. You're not staying for dinner? My grandson-in-law cooks really well. It's not convenient. Olivia sets down the medical equipment. Leave this here. Old Mrs. Sullivan's eyes shift. Take it away. My grandson-in-law doesn't know how to use it, and I don't want Dr. Fang coming here. I want you to come check on me every day. Just as Olivia is about to say something, the water in the bathroom suddenly stops. She immediately stands up, grabs the medical case, and rushes out flustered. I'm leaving. I'll come back tomorrow. The moment the door closes, I walk out of the bathroom fully dressed. Where's your granddaughter? She left and she said it was not convenient. She's just too proper, always pulling that long face. Grandson-in-law, is that why you don't like her? She can change those things. I'm not your grandson-in-law. Yes, you are. I feel utterly helpless. Over these past 2 days, I've found the old lady incredibly sweet, always going along with whatever I say, except on this one matter where she's completely stubborn. A few days later, the old lady suddenly says she wants to go home to get some clothes, so I message the granddaughter and ask for the address. But the moment I open the location, I freeze. Estate number 1. Isn't this the Sullivan family compound? The most famous wealthy district in Haicheng. I thought the little old lady lived in one of those smaller villas. I didn't dare think it could be the Sullivans. But after arriving at the destination, I look up at the imposing antique-style black gate carved with exquisite patterns and ask hesitantly, Grandma, is this your home? The little old lady looks drowsy, her eyes a bit blank. Grandson-in-law, I can't remember. Helplessly, I message the granddaughter. She replies instantly, wait there, I'll be right over. Not long after, a luxury car stops in front of us. Frank and Linda get out of the back seat and rush toward us. Linda's brow knits tightly. Ryan, it really is you. What are you doing here? She came today as Frank's chaperone to visit the Sullivans. From a distance, she had spotted someone lingering at the Sullivan gate. She never expected it to actually be me. Frank looks at the closed Sullivan gate. Ryan, are you here harassing Miss Sullivan again? The moment he says this, Linda explodes. You worthless animal, don't you know what today is? Get out of here right now. If you ruin Frank's engagement, I won't let you off. Although I'm sick of them with the old lady here, I don't want to clash. So I suppress my annoyance and explain, I'm bringing an elderly lady home. We took a wrong turn. Frank blurts out instinctively, is this your wife's grandmother? How could she live in this neighborhood? I shoot back, why couldn't she? Linda starts cursing at me viciously. Stop pretending, like your dirt poor wife's grandmother could live here. She turns to the little old lady. Hey old hag, tell me then, which villa number do you live in? I frown and am about to speak, when the little old lady suddenly stands up. I remember now. I live here. Grandson-in-law, come home with me. She pulls my hand and walks toward the Sullivan gate. The gate is still about 100 meters away, but we barely take 2 steps before Frank speaks up. Ryan, you found all these excuses just so you could use the old lady as a shield to get into the Sullivan house. My footsteps falter, and I look sharply ahead at the Sullivan estate. When I saw this imposing gate, I had a vague suspicion in my mind, but I simply can't connect the polite granddaughter on WhatsApp with the cold, ruthless Olivia. Maybe the little old lady is mistaken. Just as I'm about to confirm, Linda suddenly charges forward and reaches for the little old lady. I won't let you cause trouble at the Sullivan house. I'm startled. With one hand I shield the little old lady, and with the other I grab Linda and shove her away forcefully. What do you— Linda staggers back. After steadying herself, she starts cursing furiously. You ungrateful brat! How dare you hit your own mother for this old hag? I'm calling the police. I ignore her and quickly look at the little old lady. She has never been cursed at like this before. Sure enough, she's trembling all over with anger, her hand pressed to her chest, her body shaking uncontrollably. I quickly support her and immediately pull the emergency heart pills from her pocket. But when I open the bottle, it's empty. My pupils contract. The old lady is very frail. Unless absolutely necessary, manual CPR is not advisable. Medication is best. I snap my eyes toward the gate. The Sullivan family must have the medicine. Even if the old lady isn't a Sullivan, she's their guest. They wouldn't leave her to die. I lift the old lady up, but Frank grabs my arm forcefully. Ryan, don't do this. The Sullivans won't let you in. He looks at the little old lady, a sinister glint flashing in his eyes. At this moment, I feel I'm about to lose my mind. Towering rage churns in my eyes. I kick him to the ground, but the next moment my leg is tightly gripped. Linda sits on the ground, shamelessly clinging to me with all her strength. I'm trembling with fury. With the little old lady in my arms, I can't break free for the moment. Just then, a black car slowly pulls up. Olivia steps out and demands sharply, "What are you all doing?" Frank quickly speaks up. "Miss Sullivan, it's Ryan. He insisted on bringing a dying person to the Sullivan estate to pull a scam. It's my fault for not stopping him." Hearing this, Olivia sees that the person I'm holding is her grandma. Her pupils contract sharply, and she strides toward us. Grandma is the person closest to Olivia, but her health has been declining for years, and Olivia is clearly panicking to the extreme. I don't have time to explain. I quickly say, "The old lady is having a heart attack. The pills she carries just ran out. If we get her medication in time, she'll be fine." Olivia presses her lips together, takes her grandma from me, and rushes into the Sullivan estate without looking back. I can't follow because Linda is still clinging to my leg. Frank is still suspicious about the old lady's identity, but Linda lets go of me, dusts herself off, and sneers. So that's what he's banking on, bringing that old hag to crash the Sullivan gate. Just then, the Sullivan gate opens and Cindy walks out. Frank's face turns ingratiating. Cindy, you should have waited for me at the parking lot. Why did you come all the way to the gate? Cindy forces some tenderness. I was afraid you'd get lost on your first visit. Then she turns to me, and her tenderness instantly turns to icy malice. Ryan, are you here because you've changed your mind? I keep a straight face and stay silent. If you changed your mind, you could have just called. Who said you could come to the Sullivan estate? Can an illegitimate son like you even step through this gate? Cindy lets out a cold laugh. But if you really want to go in and take a look, that's possible too. Cindy, you're misunderstanding, Frank cuts in. Ryan is waiting for his wife's grandmother. The old lady just had a heart attack and was carried in by Miss Sullivan. Cindy's eyes turn red instantly. She grits her teeth. What wife? Ryan, who is that woman? I look at her mockingly. Cindy, who my wife is has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with me. Let's see who dares marry you without my approval. Frank quickly answers. According to Ryan's mother, she's some street thug girl. Cindy clenches her fists. So this is how you ruin yourself. Fine. An illegitimate son and a thug. A perfect match. Frank keeps adding fuel to the fire. Ryan can't accept it either. That's why he keeps pestering Miss Sullivan. I sneer coldly. Frank, you call yourself the young master of the Lockwood family, yet your mind is full of nothing but dirty thoughts. Is that all you've got? Hearing this, Frank's expression stiffens. He clenches his fists. I know you want to get revenge on me and Cindy, but Miss Sullivan has long been married. You shouldn't destroy someone else's marriage. Cindy is furious hearing this. She has been waiting for my call these past 2 days, thinking that if I came back begging, she might let me off the hook, but she didn't expect that I'd already got married. Realizing this, she's instantly enraged. I knew it. How else could your wife's grandmother have collapsed at my doorstep? Turns out you came from my aunt. Ryan, how shameless can you be? She's furious. She points at me and tells the gatekeeper, got a good look? Remember this face. He's never to set foot in the Sullivan estate again. Frank lowers his head, the corner of his mouth lifting in triumph. It seems the Sullivan family, Cindy still has half the say. However, the next moment the Sullivan family butler steps out through the gate. His gaze sweeps across everyone. Then he comes to me. Mr. Ryan, Miss Sullivan invites you inside. Frank freezes. Cindy stares in shock. I raise my head and look at the gatekeeper with a half smile. So, can I go in now? The gatekeeper cautiously glances at Cindy, then opens the gate without hesitation. He knows clearly who really runs the Sullivan family. After entering the house, Cindy and Frank follow behind. Linda glares at me. Miss Sullivan probably just wants you to pick up your grandmother. Once you've got her, be smart and leave quickly. Don't go dirtying the Sullivan's carpet. With these words, the group enters the living room together. They immediately see old Mrs. Sullivan sitting in the main seat on the sofa. The little old lady glares. You wicked woman, who are you calling an animal? She's changed into luxurious clothing, but her complexion still looks poor. Olivia sits coldly to her left. Linda stands frozen in place. Frank's legs go weak, and he nearly collapses to the ground. Luckily, Cindy catches him. What's wrong? Frank's hands are trembling. He suddenly lets out a bitter laugh. Ryan, why did you lie to us? Telling us old Mrs. Sullivan was your wife's grandmother, making us disrespect her. Instantly, I feel several suspicious gazes turn on me. Linda quickly catches on. You knew old Mrs. Sullivan has Alzheimer's, yet you dared to deceive her. Who do you think the Sullivan family is? Kneel down and apologize right now. My eyes darken. Is she trying to pin everything on me? That way Frank can clear his name. What a clever trick. Crash! A teacup flies through the air, thrown by old Mrs. Sullivan, hitting Linda square on. Scalding tea spills all over her, but Linda doesn't dare scream. You bastard! Old Mrs. Sullivan snaps. He is my grandson-in-law! Linda, enduring the burning pain, says, Madam, you've been deceived by him. I'm absolutely certain his wife is just a thug. No need to argue, just ask the person involved. Cindy's mother May speaks up. Olivia, is he really your husband? I silently look at Olivia, and then hear the expected answer. No. What an ungrateful, treacherous woman. Anger flashes in my eyes. Frank's face shows delight, letting out a sigh of relief. Linda sneers. I knew this was all Ryan's doing. I let out a cold laugh, and am about to speak, when Olivia's voice rings out again. Grandma mistook him, so I asked Mr. Ryan to help look after Grandma for a while. Everyone falls silent. Nobody expected this. After a long moment, Frank lowers his head. So that's what happened. Ryan, why didn't you tell us the truth? If you had, this misunderstanding wouldn't have happened. Mr. Frank. Olivia leans back on the sofa, her posture casual but her words carrying strong authority. Hiding behind others and shifting blame when things go wrong. Is this how the Lockwood family teaches the young generation? Old Mrs. Sullivan is prompted by these words and immediately fumes. You think I'm losing my mind and can't see through your little tricks? Making mistakes without remorse and trying to shift the blame onto others, you two are utterly shameless. Old Mrs. Sullivan looks straight at Cindy. Call off the engagement. I refuse to acknowledge your husband. Frank's body shakes. The marriage he worked so hard to secure can't end like this. He turns to Cindy, only to see her staring blankly at me, clearly still not over the shock of me being married. Frank clenches his fists, lowers his head, and walks up to Cindy. Cindy, it's my fault. Don't worry. Even if the engagement is called off, I'll still introduce you to that person I promised. Cindy snaps back to her senses. Frank still needs to introduce Dr. Ray to her. In current new energy field, Dr. Ray is one of the top figures. She quickly says to old Mrs. Sullivan, Great-grandma, Frank didn't know any better. Please forgive him. Besides, both families have already exchanged betrothal gifts. Calling off the engagement would be very inappropriate. Old Mrs. Sullivan gives her a long, deep look. Whatever. After all, Cindy's parents will decide what to do about her matters. She doesn't want to be involved further, but Cindy's mother smiles. Grandma, did you forget the engagement gift? Hearing this, old Mrs. Sullivan lowers her eyelids. I'll have someone transfer $180,000 to Cindy. Cindy's mother's face stiffens. But didn't you previously say you'd give the young couple 2% of the shares, worried they'd be tight on money as newlyweds? If you ask who's the richest person in the Sullivan family, it would definitely be old Mrs. Sullivan. She comes from an elite family in the capital with a generous dowry, and she also controls 20% of the Sullivan family shares. Cindy's mother had long planned to squeeze a fortune out of her through this marriage. It was all agreed upon, but old Mrs. Sullivan changed her mind at the last minute. Old Mrs. Sullivan gives her a half smile. I'm not satisfied with Cindy's husband, so I'm not giving it. Frank turns pale, feeling utterly humiliated. The Sullivan family has many servants, word will surely spread. Soon all of Haicheng will know he was rejected by old Mrs. Sullivan. Elite families value face above all, and old Mrs. Sullivan has stomped his pride into the dirt today. But old Mrs. Sullivan doesn't care about any of this. After saying her piece, she pulls me along, taking Olivia to her courtyard. Then she makes an excuse to leave, asking Olivia to take good care of her grandson-in-law before hurrying off with her people. In the blink of an eye, only Olivia and I are left in the courtyard. In the night, Olivia and I stand side by side. Just as I'm hesitating about how to start, Olivia suddenly looks at me with veiled disdain. You've got terrible luck. Not to be outdone, I look at her just as seriously. Silly girl. Olivia's face turns dark. She didn't expect that I had charmed Grandma into telling me even this, confirming that my motives are impure. Grandma latching onto him might be an accident, with no signs of scheming. But this man kindly taking Grandma in, it could very well be because Grandma accidentally let slip her identity. I throw a jab back at her, but I don't forget the business at hand. I remember you said in your text you'd help me with one thing. Could you come with me to the marriage registry office to check our marital status? Olivia's face darkens. She speaks sharply with impatience. Fine, let's go. But if it turns out to be false, I expect you to stop using Grandma as an excuse to pester me. Old Mrs. Sullivan's head pops out from the window. You naughty girl, are you bullying my grandson-in-law? Hearing this, Olivia's expression instantly stiffens. Dinner is simple, 4 dishes and a soup, just right for 3 people. But old Mrs. Sullivan has no appetite. After a few bites, she puts down her chopsticks. Grandson-in-law, I'm tired. Let's go home. Don't tire yourself out. Stay home and rest tonight. This courtyard is like a small retirement home, fully equipped with medical machines. Old Mrs. Sullivan nervously grabs my hand. Then can you stay and keep me company? I frown and glance at Olivia. Honestly, I'm worried about old Mrs. Sullivan too, but Olivia obviously despises me and suspects I'm using old Mrs. Sullivan to get close to her. She'd never agree. Olivia falls silent for a moment, then says, fine. Then she gives me a meaningful glance, clearly warning me not to have any improper thoughts. After dinner, I take old Mrs. Sullivan back to her room to rest. Old Mrs. Sullivan is truly exhausted today, having had another health scare. The moment she lies down, she drifts off groggily. She sleeps very restlessly, so I have no choice but to sit by the bed. Outside the window, Olivia wears a serious expression. What's going on with my grandma? The family doctor once studied psychology. He sighs. Although I don't know why old Mrs. Sullivan has fixated on this young man, I can more or less guess why she's so anxious, so afraid that her grandson-in-law will leave. Then the family doctor glances at Olivia. Old Mrs. Sullivan probably feels she won't make it through this year. She's afraid that once she's gone, you'll have no one to bond with. The grandson-in-law is the only one she can leave behind to keep you company. Olivia freezes slightly, dark eyes churning with emotions she can't suppress. After a long time, she calms down again. She stands in the moonlight, as if about to merge completely with the darkness behind her. After who knows how long, she suddenly turns around and strides toward the main house. Frank is having a very difficult meal because he just lost 2% of the shares. Cindy's mother May is very dissatisfied, her words full of veiled jabs. Isn't Ryan supposed to be your family's illegitimate son? How is it that he can charm old Mrs. Sullivan but you can't? Frank can only lower his head and apologize. Auntie May, I'm not as sweet-tongued as Ryan when it comes to flattery. May sneers. I don't care what method you use, you'd better get those 2% shares back for me, or forget about marrying into the Sullivan family. Frank can't voice his frustrations. He finally finishes dinner. He's finally able to take his leave, but before he can go, Olivia returns. The moment she walks in, she brings overwhelming pressure into the room. Her gaze sweeps over the lavish dinner, and her expression grows even darker. Grandma didn't eat anything tonight, yet you're all here enjoying yourselves. May catches her expression and doesn't dare speak. Cindy's father, Eric, frowns and asks, Olivia, what brings you here? Olivia ignores her nominal elder brother and turns her gaze to Frank. Since the engagement hasn't been called off, he's now considered part of the Sullivan family, right? Since he's a Sullivan, he must follow the Sullivan rules. He disrespected an elder today. His punishment is to kneel in the ancestral hall for a whole night. Olivia waves to the people behind her without waiting for a response. 2 bodyguards walk up to Frank. Mr. Frank, please. Frank looks pleadingly at Cindy, but she clearly doesn't dare defy the head of the family. He takes a deep breath and has no choice but to follow the bodyguards. Just before leaving the room, he hears Cindy ask, Auntie Olivia, what about Ryan? Did he leave? Then comes Olivia's warning reply. He's my guest. He's staying at the Sullivan estate tonight. Frank follows the bodyguards to the ancestral hall. Lady Olivia said you 2 aren't married yet, so you can't enter the Sullivan ancestral hall. Kneel outside. Outside is a hard stone tile floor. Frank wants to say something, but the 2 bodyguards stand with their hands behind their backs, watching him coldly. The night is very cold. Frank shivers, the biting cold seeping from his knees into his bones. He tries to take it easy, to cut himself some slack, but those two bodyguards stare at him like gatekeepers. They say nothing, yet their presence is bone-chilling. When I wake up the next day, I find myself lying in bed, covered with a pink blanket that doesn't match old Mrs. Sullivan's room decor. I don't think much of it. After getting up and washing, I join old Mrs. Sullivan and Olivia for breakfast. On the table sits a plate of fried sugar cakes. Old Mrs. Sullivan immediately reaches for one. Olivia frowns. "Grandma, your blood sugar is high. You shouldn't eat such oily and sugary food." Just as she's wondering how to stop Grandma, she hears me say calmly, "Grandma, this sugar cake isn't good for you." Then the greedy, stubborn little old lady puts the sugar cake into my mouth instead. She smiles ingratiatingly. "Grandson-in-law, I picked this one for you." Olivia studies me with a scrutinizing gaze, not understanding why Grandma listens to me so much. I eat the sugar cake without hesitation, then look at Olivia. "By the way, when we go to the marriage registry office later, you need to bring your ID card and household registration booklet." Old Mrs. Sullivan asks curiously, "What are you going to the registry office for?" "We lost the marriage certificate." But to our surprise, the moment I say this, old Mrs. Sullivan speaks up. "It's not lost." She hurries into the bedroom and quickly brings out 2 red marriage certificates, handing them to Olivia and me. I stare at the marriage certificate in my hand in shock, suddenly realizing old Mrs. Sullivan called me grandson-in-law the very first time we met. She has known all along that we were married. I feel like I've grasped a thread of the truth. I immediately ask, "Grandma, why is this marriage certificate with you?" Old Mrs. Sullivan freezes, her eyes becoming a bit hazy. "I can't remember." "Then how did Miss Sullivan and I get married?" Old Mrs. Sullivan keeps shaking her head. "I don't remember." I'm getting a bit anxious. "Grandma, think harder." "Enough," Olivia snaps in a low voice, stepping forward to block me from old Mrs. Sullivan. She looks at me with cold detachment. "Ryan, this certificate is real. Next, are you going to say there's no need to go to the registry office? So this was your goal all along. First you used the legitimate pretext of going to the registry office to pester me, then trick Grandma into producing this fake certificate to make her believe it." I sense a faint killing intent in her tone, and I find it utterly baffling. "We don't have to go today after all. Divorce isn't something you settle with one trip to the registry office. For 2 years we've been legal spouses with many asset division issues, so we need to sign a divorce agreement first." "No." Olivia finishes and watches me carefully, only to see me pause briefly before reluctantly saying, "Suit yourself. Is his acting just this good, or is this marriage certificate actually real?" Olivia suddenly feels uncertain. She simply picks up the marriage certificate and heads out first. "Wait for me in the parking lot." I smile reassuringly at old Mrs. Sullivan. As soon as we reach the parking lot, I see Linda supporting a pale-faced Frank. Seeing me come out, she rushes over indignantly. "You must help your brother. Ryan, you're an illegitimate son, but the Lockwood family didn't hold your background against you and raised you. Surely you can credit the efforts. You should repay the Lockwoods." I've heard this brainwashing for 20 years, and now I just find it laughable. Seeing me silent, Linda seizes the moment. "Now that you've grown up, you finally have a chance to repay the Lockwoods. Ryan, doesn't old Mrs. Sullivan listen to you? Go ask her to give those 2% shares back to your brother." Hearing this, I suddenly laugh. I'm just a lowly illegitimate son. How could old Mrs. Sullivan possibly listen to me? Linda freezes and wants to say more, but I've already strode past her, walking straight to Olivia's car. The car quickly arrives at the marriage registry office. The moment it stops, Liam rushes over urgently. "Boss, the driver said you drove off alone. I panicked and tracked you by location. Is something wrong?" Olivia stays tight-lipped. "How did you end up here?" Liam thinks to himself, has the boss really been pestered by Ryan to the point of paranoia? "Boss, don't worry, like I said, he won't be able to see you again, otherwise I'll livestream eating shit." I sit in the back seat, my voice lazy. "Which livestream channel?" Liam's body stiffens. Just like that, the 3 of us enter the service hall. Liam speaks up first. "Hello, I'd like to ask, can someone get a marriage certificate without being present in person?" "Absolutely not," the clerk answers. Liam looks at me mockingly. "Did you hear that? You even prepared a fake certificate. I'm calling the police right now to report you for forgery and harassment." But Olivia hands over the certificate. "Please check whether this marriage certificate is genuine." After looking it up, the clerk gives an answer. "This certificate is genuine." "Impossible! Did you register the information wrong?" Liam exclaims. "Nonsense. Marriage is a serious matter. Both parties registering must have their identities thoroughly verified and sign declaration forms." I quickly speak up. "Can we see our declaration forms?" Olivia nods too. "Please bring out the forms." The clerk reluctantly stands up. "You two are really in sync as a couple. Fine, I'll go find them for you." Soon, 2 registration documents are placed before us. I glance at the handwriting. It really is mine. Liam leans over and gasps, "Boss, this really is your handwriting." Olivia falls silent. I look at the clerk. "Hello, could we see the security footage from the day we registered?" "Sorry, we only keep footage for 6 months." The clerk reassures us repeatedly. There are absolutely no errors in our process. Both parties must be present in person to obtain the certificate. The 3 of us walk out of the registry office. Liam looks lost. "Boss, what do we do now?" Olivia's eyes darken, while I raise an eyebrow. "Divorce." We say it in unison again. Liam is stunned, then asks, "If you divorce now, shouldn't you discuss the divorce terms?" "I'll have my lawyer contact you." "Talk to my lawyer." Olivia and I speak in unison for the 3rd time. I laugh and simply say, How about this? We each have our lawyers draft an agreement. We look them over first, and if there are issues, the lawyers can negotiate. Liam scoffs. Someone like you can afford a lawyer? But Olivia nods in agreement. I ignore Liam and take out my phone. Miss Sullivan, let's add each other on WhatsApp, so it'll be easier to stay in touch. Olivia gives me a meaningful look and opens her quick response code. I scan it, and the chat box pops up with the contact note clearly displayed. Silly granddaughter. Her face darkens instantly. I'm embarrassed too. I forgot we'd already added each other. Facing her dark expression, I clear my throat. The contact note was just random. I quickly change the note to silly girl, leaves a see you later, and hails a cab. In the car, I call Jenny. Find me the best divorce lawyer. She absolutely cannot take a single cent from me. Boss, what exactly is the deal with your marriage? You can't both have amnesia. I sigh. One person definitely knows what's going on. Is it old Mrs. Sullivan? I frown. The Alzheimer's clinical trial drug needs to speed up, or we won't make it in time. When I get home, old Mrs. Sullivan is actually waiting at my door with a suitcase. Grandson-in-law, you're back. I brought lots of clothes. I pause, then break into a helpless smile. That very day, Haicheng's most famous law firm receives 2 anonymous commissions with strikingly identical demands. The other party cannot take a single cent. The junior lawyer grumbles, I've never seen such ruthless spouses. But the lawyer laughs cheerfully. One contract earns double the fees, send them to the clients. Later, Olivia receives my divorce agreement in her office. Just as she opens it, Liam pushes the door open. Boss, the investigation results are in. Mr. Ryan only discovered you two were married a few days ago when he went to register. There's a lot of missing information about him from after he left the Lockwood family these past few years. Very strange. Olivia thinks for a moment. So you still think he's somehow involved in this? His purpose remains unclear, and Dr. Ray is elusive. We still haven't reached him. Olivia stays silent. She doesn't know that the Alzheimer's clinical trial drug is exactly what I'm developing. That evening, Olivia asks me to come downstairs and hands me the agreement. I have no objections. Sign it. She expected me to refuse, but I sign without hesitation. Let's divorce tomorrow. So soon? I'm dying inside. After all, my company is waiting to go public. See you at the registry office tomorrow morning. Just as we're talking, old Mrs. Sullivan actually comes downstairs. Her face pale, her voice trembling. You're getting divorced? The moment she says this, her eyes close and she collapses to the ground. Outside the hospital room, the doctor gives a stern warning. Old Mrs. Sullivan cannot take any more stress. Absolutely do not upset her again. Olivia sits on the bench, her hands trembling uncontrollably. When old Mrs. Sullivan wakes up, she looks at me with a raspy voice. Grandson-in-law, I dreamed that you and that naughty girl wanted to divorce. That's not true, is it? I stay silent, but Olivia speaks up. It's not true. Then no divorce. Give me your household registration booklet and marriage certificate. Yes. Olivia agrees to everything. Old Mrs. Sullivan looks at me again. Grandson-in-law, what the naughty girl said is true, right? Remembering the doctor's instructions, I'm silent for a moment. It's true. That night, I sit on the sofa working on English research materials. WhatsApp pings with a message from Olivia. Once Grandma stabilizes, we'll go through with the divorce. I reply, fine. The agreement is signed anyway. We're nothing to each other. Olivia sends another message. Any other requests? Once Grandma's well, just divorce as soon as possible. Old Mrs. Sullivan looks at me, then at her, and suddenly says, naughty girl, I want to arrange a job for my grandson-in-law at Sullivan Group. Olivia pauses slightly, then agrees. Old Mrs. Sullivan is excited. Tomorrow you'll go to work with that naughty girl. I agree too. Sullivan Group's archives are rich, perfect for me to find research materials. Then Olivia leaves with Liam. In the hallway, Liam complains. Boss, he's obviously trying to sneak into the company. How could you agree? If I don't keep him under my watch, how will he show his true colors? Olivia says coldly. In the hospital room, old Mrs. Sullivan waves me over. Grandson-in-law, let me tell you a secret. If that naughty girl bullies you, fight back. Don't let her fool you with that cool, untouchable act. She's actually afraid of cats. My expression freezes. In my memory, a girl I knew when I was young also seemed afraid of cats. Grandson-in-law, do you prefer cats or dogs? I suddenly realize I used to like cats too when I was a kid. But an older girl didn't like them, so I stopped liking them too. I quickly compose myself. Why is old Mrs. Sullivan asking this question? The next day, on the top floor of Sullivan Group, a cute puppy wags its tail and circles around me. Liam is speechless. The job old Mrs. Sullivan arranged for Mr. Ryan, why is it taking care of this little puppy? Olivia doesn't quite understand either. My job is literally playing with a dog? This is absurd. She commands, take them to the new energy R&D department, team 1 for onboarding. This was already arranged. The new energy R&D department is the future of the company. She's placing me there to see what slip-ups I might make. I don't mind. I pick up the puppy and follow Liam. Does it have a name? Old Mrs. Sullivan wants you to give it one. I glance at Olivia's dark face. Let's call it Kitty. The new energy R&D department is on the 38th floor. In the elevator, Liam says, Mr. Ryan, most of the staff in Sullivan Group's R&D department are PhD students. The lowest are master's students from top universities. You're the first undergraduate. Learn well from your seniors here. It'll greatly benefit your future. The boss arranged this specifically for you. Of course, no need to be eternally grateful. It's the boss's reward for you keeping old Mrs. Sullivan happy. My mouth twitches. Truly, there's no need. By the way, your relationship with the boss, she doesn't want it made public, to avoid any drama once you divorce. I glance at him. Coincidentally, I have the same concern. Liam is stunned that this guy actually has the audacity to look down on his boss. The first day at work is easy. No one assigns me any tasks, so I happily play with Kitty in the office. After he falls asleep, I get up and close the door, heading straight for the archives on the 60th floor. Only by developing the Alzheimer's specialty drug, and having old Mrs. Sullivan recover enough to remember the past, can I finally understand what this bizarre marriage is all about. The books here cover top-tier knowledge from every field, some even unavailable to outsiders. I feel a faint thrill. On the top floor, Olivia receives a text from her grandma whose WhatsApp display name has been changed to Grandma Who Can't Be Stressed. Naughty girl, eat lunch with your grandson-in-law today. Remember to send me a photo of you two dining intimately. Olivia sighs helplessly and presses the call bell. Liam, prepare 2 lunches and send them up. She messages me, but I don't reply for a long time. On the 60th floor, I'm searching behind rows of bookshelves and I don't notice that Cindy is staring at me. I'm so absorbed in searching that when I step back, I bump into someone. Sorry. I turn around only to see Cindy staring at me with a complex expression. Ryan, are you going to all this trouble to please great-grandma just to get close to Auntie Olivia? My expression turns cold instantly. None of your business. Auntie Olivia has never been interested in men all these years. Don't think you can seduce her with that face of yours. She's not that shallow. Look, she just tossed you some meaningless job to brush you off. I scoff. So you're saying when you chase me for so long, it's because you're shallow? Cindy's eyes turn red. I know you hate me for marrying Frank, but I had no choice. Elite marriages involve many considerations. My mother already agreed to let me be with an ordinary person, but given your background, no matter what, I could never marry an illegitimate son. Otherwise, how would I face the Sullivan family, and I'd become the laughingstock of Haicheng? I withdraw my gaze. Thanks for not marrying me. Just as I'm about to leave, Cindy blocks my path. I can arrange for you to work in my team. I'll find someone capable to mentor you. I know you're competitive. You're so smart, you'll definitely learn quickly. Hearing this, I cut off her chatter. What's the condition? Divorce your wife and come with me. Cindy can't accept sharing me with another woman. Just thinking about it drives her mad. I respond coldly, you're not worthy. Why do you love that thug wife of yours so much? Believe me, I can give her some money or hire someone to threaten her, and she'll abandon you. How could she ever compare to me? Hearing this, I look coldly at Cindy. I didn't want to crush your ego, but since you insist on digging deeper, let me tell you, my wife is prettier than you, and her figure is better too. After leaving these words, I turn to leave and see Olivia at the corner. I fall silent, and so does she. Meanwhile, Cindy behind me, eyes dark, picks up her phone and calls Frank. Aren't you having lunch with Dr. Ray tomorrow afternoon? Take me with you. Olivia lunch with me to bring me to the top floor. We enter Olivia's office and she points to the dining table beside us. You eat first, I still have some work. I feel a bit guilty. From her demeanor, she probably didn't hear what I said earlier, right? While I'm thinking this, I hear the sound of a phone camera. Olivia calmly takes a photo and sends it to Grandma before walking over. I know the purpose of the photo, so I don't ask. I just look at the table making small talk. Miss Sullivan, your lunch is quite lavish. Olivia sits across from me, elegantly picking up her chopsticks. After all, good nutrition is needed to maintain a good figure. I freeze, my face flushing. My gaze sweeps over her pale skin. I awkwardly pack up a portion of food. Miss Sullivan, I just remembered I haven't fed Kitty yet. I should head out. Thanks for the lunch. In a great mood, I leave with a lunchbox. After work, Olivia calls her grandma. Where are you? At the hospital. This afternoon I suddenly had chest pains again, so I want to stay a few more days. Naughty girl, are you coming to stay with me tonight? If not, just let me lie pitifully alone in the hospital. I'm on my way. That's more like it. By the way, I already told my grandson-in-law to come keep me company. You and he should come together. Olivia presses her temples. She understands Grandma's little scheme. She messages me. I'll pick you up after work to go to the hospital. I reply quickly, no need. I already took a cab and I'm on my way. Although she wanted to keep her distance, seeing me so determined to avoid her, Olivia's displeasure inexplicably grows. I carry the puppy into the inpatient ward. Not far away, Mrs. Lockwood has just finished a checkup, with Frank supporting her arm. That's Ryan, isn't it? How is he in the hospital? Is he sick? Mrs. Lockwood asks hesitantly. Frank is furious inside. Old Mrs. Sullivan doesn't allow any visitors, yet she lets Ryan stay with her. His eyes flicker. He must be visiting old Mrs. Sullivan. Ryan is quite filial. Nancy frowns. Filial my foot. He's never come to visit Madam. Madam, you're still defending him. Young Master Ryan is an ungrateful brat. He probably forgot about you long ago. Frank chimes in. I heard Miss Sullivan got him a job at Sullivan Group, so that's why he's repaying old Mrs. Sullivan. Nancy scoffs. Madam raised him. The kindness of raising someone is greater than the heavens, yet he never repays Madam. That's enough, stop it, Mrs. Lockwood says, stopping them. Frank feigns a sigh. Mom, you're right. But some people do repay even the smallest kindness with great generosity, like Dr. Ray. Mom only gave him a bit of money, yet he's helped our family so much over the years. 3 years ago, when the company nearly went bankrupt, Dr. Ray directly gave us a technology patent, which saved our company. Nancy nods. Compared like this, Dr. Ray is so much better than Ryan. I'd also like to know what kind of person Dr. Ray really is. Mom, take me with you tomorrow. Mrs. Lockwood smiles and pats his head. I'll take you. This scene is witnessed by me, sitting on the sofa in the very important person hospital room. My gaze follows Mrs. Lockwood, her face showing an unhealthy pallor. Frank whispers something beside her and Mrs. Lockwood nods helplessly. They look intimate together. Only when they get in the car do I reluctantly withdraw my gaze. Turning around, I find old Mrs. Sullivan standing behind me. Grandson-in-law, who is that person? She looks so familiar. My expression softens, and just as I'm about to speak, her eyes suddenly light up. I remember. She's your mother. You look so alike. I pause slightly. Actually, aside from face shape, my features don't resemble Mrs. Lockwood at all. The only thing alike is that cold, detached air. After leaving the Lockwood family, I would subconsciously mimic her demeanor, picking up a bit of her aura. I look at old Mrs. Sullivan. Grandma, she's not my mother, but old Mrs. Sullivan is firm. She is. Grandson-in-law, how can you not recognize your own mother? I'm torn between laughing and crying. Fortunately, Olivia shows up with dinner. The dinner Olivia prepared is lavish, with fruit for us three. The moment old Mrs. Sullivan sees it, she immediately frowns. Grandson-in-law can't eat mangoes. He's allergic to mango. My heart skips. I look at her in shock. Grandma, how do you know? I really was allergic before, but I outgrew it 2 years ago, and I've never mentioned it to her. Old Mrs. Sullivan smiles. You told me before. You said when you ate mango, your face broke out in little red bumps. My expression turns serious. When was before? Old Mrs. Sullivan becomes hazy again. Seems like you told me before we got married. My mind is a stormy sea. I'm certain I didn't know her before the marriage, and I haven't lost my memory either. I quickly ask, what else do you remember? Like how Olivia and I got the certificate. Old Mrs. Sullivan shakes her head, saying she can't remember. I sense Olivia's scrutinizing gaze, her face cold. I know she must think I have ulterior motives again. I can't catch a break, so I pick up the Shiba Inu. Grandma, you two eat first, I'll go walk the dog. I hide at the end of the hallway, quietly looking toward the hospital room. Soon Olivia follows me out. Mr. Ryan, do you have something to say? I thought you'd want me to explain something. Then is there anything you want to explain? I answer earnestly. What Grandma said about things before the marriage. I genuinely don't know what's going on. A matter this personal, old Mrs. Sullivan couldn't make it up. I thought she'd doubt me, but she only responds calmly, I know. I'm dumbfounded. Ms. Sullivan, you believe me? Olivia steps closer, her tone icy. Mr. Ryan, I don't care what your purpose is. As long as you can keep Grandma happy, I promise to protect you completely. I understand she doesn't care about the truth. As long as Grandma is happy, she can even turn a blind eye to anything I scheme. She adds with imposing authority. But if you hurt Grandma, I'll make sure you can't survive in Haicheng. I let out a cold laugh. Hasn't you already done that, Miss Sullivan? Olivia frowns and is about to speak when Professor Walker's voice suddenly comes from behind. Ryan. Professor Walker walks over, his voice raspy. I was just about to call you to ask if you found work. Has the misunderstanding with Miss Sullivan been resolved? That Miss Sullivan really is inhumane. How can she be so vindictive? Canceling your graduate recommendation wasn't enough. She even declared she'd make you disappear from Haicheng. Olivia, standing next to me, looks confused, while I give her a half smile. Professor, don't worry, it's already resolved. It was a misunderstanding. Miss Sullivan is actually quite nice. She not only got me a job, but also promised to protect me. Olivia's face darkens. Professor Walker breathes a sigh of relief, then turns to Olivia, asking instinctively, Is this your thug wife? Olivia's face turns completely dark, but my smile grows wider. Something like that. Professor Walker speaks earnestly to Olivia. Young lady, you're pretty. You should work hard to find a proper job. Meanwhile, at the Lockwood family dining room, Richard asks the listless Mrs. Lockwood with concern, Sophia, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well? Frank cuts in. Dad, we ran into Ryan at the hospital today, so Mom is a bit worried about him. Why worry about him? Frank sighs. He definitely hates me now. I'm worried he might say something in front of old Mrs. Sullivan, and Ms. Sullivan will take it out on me. Richard sneers. That's because he offended Ms. Sullivan. What does it have to do with you? Just then, Richard's phone rings. It's Olivia's assistant, Liam. Liam, what brings your call? Does Ms. Sullivan have instructions? The voice on the other end is unusually cold. The boss asked me to ask Mr. Frank, when did the boss say she wanted Mr. Ryan Lockwood to disappear from Haicheng? The boss doesn't even know about it. Richard's face darkens. He looks at Frank in disbelief. Liam leaves one final remark. The Lockwood family really needs to teach its juniors better. Then he hangs up. Beside them, Frank lowers his head silently. I saw Ryan bothering Miss Sullivan and was afraid he'd ruin my engagement with Cindy. Dad, I didn't mean to. Frank's face is pale as he defends himself. After all, Ryan is also your son. I was worried you wouldn't have the heart to scold him properly. Richard changes the subject. How many times have I said it? In my heart, I have only one son and that's you. Who is Ryan to me? How could he compare to you? Mrs. Lockwood disagrees. Richard, Ryan is still your son after all. Richard immediately turns. Sophia, when I was schemed against by Linda back then, I wronged you. Her son means nothing to me. In my heart, there's only you and our child. Linda, standing nearby in a servant's role, hears these words. She clenches her fist with resentment. Her eyes are bitter as she stares at Richard, who she deeply loves, her childhood sweetheart, the boy next door. But this man's eyes and heart hold only Sophia. Back then, after she got pregnant, she brought the pregnancy test report to him and said she'd be his mistress, but he ruthlessly drove her away, saying he wouldn't betray his wife. Linda had no other choice but to go to Sophia and throw a fit until she was allowed to stay at the Lockwood house. Over all these years, Richard never spoke much to her, and treated Ryan as if he were invisible. Fortunately, she swapped the two children. Linda lowers her head, suppressing her hidden feelings. Richard will never know that the Frank he constantly calls Sophia's son and has cherished all these years is actually her son. As for Ryan, he deserves to be ignored and suppressed. But Mrs. Lockwood stubbornly shakes her head. Richard, if Frank was wrong, then he was wrong. He should go apologize to Ryan. Richard frowns. Apologize? My son apologized to Linda's son? Linda quickly chimes in. No need, no need. The Lockwood family raising him is such a great kindness. Disciplining him is only right. Mrs. Lockwood sighs slightly as she looks at them but doesn't argue further. When Frank takes her back to her room, Mrs. Lockwood speaks again. If you have time tomorrow, I'll take you to visit Ryan and apologize. Frank's face stiffens. Aren't you taking Cindy to meet Dr. Ray? We'll do both tomorrow. Frank's eyes immediately light up. He links his arm with hers. Okay, Mom, you're the best to me. After he leaves, Mrs. Lockwood turns to her nanny Nancy. Nancy, my health has been poor all these years. I haven't disciplined Frank properly. I've truly failed. Madam, you're overthinking. Young Master Frank is filial and considerate. Small flaws can be corrected later. Mrs. Lockwood smiles bitterly. Ryan never lies. She breaks into a violent cough. Supported by Nancy, she walks toward the bed. That secret still weighs on her, making it hard to breathe. The next day, from the moment I wake up, I feel a bit nervous. It's been 10 years since I last saw Mrs. Lockwood. I don't know if she'll be happy or angry to see me. At noon, I go home to change clothes. Old Mrs. Sullivan asks Olivia to take her home. We leave the hospital room, and as soon as they get downstairs, they see Liam approaching. Olivia gives him a nod. Liam hands me a piece of paper. Mr. Ryan, take a look. It lists professors and new energy majors at the top universities. I look at Liam, puzzled. These are all more famous than Professor Walker. You can pick one to continue your graduate studies. It's the boss's compensation for your cancelled graduate recommendation. Mr. Ryan, meeting our boss is a blessing in disguise for you. My mouth twitches. No need. Then you want to be Dr. Ray's grad student? Liam frowns. That's tricky. Dr. Ray is in extremely high demand. A genius professor like him only takes top students. You probably wouldn't catch his eye, so you had better not set your sights too high. Worst case, after graduation, you can try to pursue a PhD under Dr. Ray then. I look at him like he's an idiot. I turn directly to Olivia. Miss Sullivan, no need to see me off. I'll take a cab home. Olivia stares at the direction I left, then suddenly tells Liam, then help him contact Dr. Ray. What? Liam is dumbfounded. At the entrance of the private kitchen restaurant, Mrs. Lockwood arrives early with Frank and Cindy. Cindy pushes open the private dining room door, and the first thing she sees is a man's tall back, pouring tea. Hello, Dr. Ray. I'm Cindy from Sullivan Group. Nice to meet you. I turn around, a playful look on my face. Ryan, why are you here? I should be asking you that, I say lazily. Cindy's face turns cold. Don't worry, I'm not here for you. Where's Dr. Ray? I don't answer. Mrs. Lockwood walks in with Frank. Seeing me, her eyes well up. You're Ryan. My heart feels a stir. Madam, how have you been lately? I'm well. Ryan, what about you? Your father said you got married. Mrs. Lockwood holds my hand tightly, full of emotion. Frank's eyes flash with darkness. Ryan, we should have invited you to dine with us, but you're working. Probably not convenient. We'll give you a bigger tip later to help with your living expenses. Watch your mouth, Mrs. Lockwood scolds. She quickly turns to me. Ryan, today we're meeting Dr. Ray. You're in the new energy field too, right? Get to know him. It'll benefit your future. Fearing I'd steal his resources, Frank picks up a steaming hot teacup and walks up to me. Ryan, Mom asked me to apologize to you yesterday. Let me toast you with tea instead of wine. As he finishes speaking, his fingers loosen, and the tea is about to spill on me. I pivot and bump into him, making the cup bounce back onto him. The scalding tea makes him cry out loudly. Ryan, I know you hate me, but how could you do this? He cries out in wronged tones. I lower my gaze, feigning innocence. Sorry, I didn't see you there. Cindy snaps furiously. Ryan, is this how you serve customers? You injured a guest. Call your manager right now. I want to file a complaint. Mrs. Lockwood shields me. Enough. We're all family. Cindy is angry. Let Ryan leave for now to avoid more conflict. Mrs. Lockwood looks at me apologetically. Ryan, come home more often when you have time. Next time there's a chance, I'll take you to visit Dr. Ray. Frank quickly changes the subject. Mom, why hasn't Dr. Ray arrived yet? I say with a half smile. He's already here. All three in the room turn to look at me. Mrs. Lockwood is just about to ask further when she suddenly breaks into violent coughing and collapses on the dining table. Madam, I instinctively move to support her, but Frank shoves me away. Get out! What did you do to my mom? Mom, wake up! The ambulance arrives quickly. I try to get in, but Cindy grabs me. Stay away from Mrs. Lockwood. If you make her sick from anger, I won't let you off. I take a cab to the hospital. The hallways are packed with no available beds. Olivia, watching the scene from upstairs, instructs Liam, get Mr. Ryan a hospital room. The reception desk gets the call and immediately announces, a very important person room just became available. Frank is overjoyed. Cindy, you really have connections. Cindy silently takes the credit. The group enters the hospital room. I try to follow, but Frank blocks me at the door. Ryan, Mom needs rest. Don't disturb her. As the door slams shut, I stand frozen, my heart burning with anxiety, but with no right to enter. I can only sit on the bench. Soon after, hurried footsteps approach. Richard rushes in with worry. After confirming Mrs. Lockwood is okay, he drags Frank out. Richard frowns and asks, what happened? How did she suddenly faint? Frank looks at me sitting nearby. Ryan insisted on meeting Dr. Ray, argued with Cindy a bit, and made Mom upset. Richard glares at me furiously. You worthless creature. Without another word, he swings his arm to strike me. I don't dodge. My mind is filled with Mrs. Lockwood's pale face. Maybe as Frank said, my very existence is misfortune. But the expected pain never comes. I open my eyes and see only a cool figure blocking me. Olivia stands there like she's holding up the sky for me. Richard panics. Miss Sullivan, Mr. Lockwood, you are disciplining your own son. I shouldn't interfere, but my grandma is fond of Ryan now. If she sees bruises on his face, she'll be upset. Olivia's voice is low and pleasant. Richard immediately says, It was thoughtless of me. Mrs. Lockwood's coughing comes from inside the room. Richard and Frank immediately go in. I stand at the door, hesitating for a long time, listening to her weak voice from inside. I'm fine, don't worry. I haven't slept well in a long time. When I just fainted, I actually slept comfortably. Only then does my heart relax. Olivia asks, Not going in? Not for now, otherwise it'll be another war of words, disturbing Mrs. Lockwood's rest. I speak softly. Just as I turn, old Mrs. Sullivan comes over, supported by the butler. I heard my grandson-in-law's mother was hospitalized. I came to see her. I support her arm. Grandma, Mrs. Lockwood isn't my mother. What? Did I get it wrong? Old Mrs. Sullivan takes out her phone, finds a photo and hands it to me. Grandson-in-law, this is what you sent me before, saying it's you and your mother. Is the person in the hospital room not the one in the photo? I freeze instantly. In the photo, Mrs. Lockwood and I are sitting by the sea, smiling brightly, looking just like a mother and son. But I haven't seen her since I left the Lockwood house. How could there be a photo together? I zoom in on the photo and find a clue. It's a crudely edited composite. When did I send this to you? Old Mrs. Sullivan shakes her head. I don't remember. How did I send it? Email or text? She keeps shaking her head, can't remember. I feel helpless. Old Mrs. Sullivan is firm. Grandson-in-law, she is your mother. You can't ignore your mother. After seeing old Mrs. Sullivan off, Olivia stands in the hallway. Liam quickly comes over to report. Boss, we've checked. Mr. Ryan was working at that private kitchen restaurant and then ran into the Lockwood family. Olivia's voice is cool. Does Sullivan Group pay him so little that he has to work elsewhere? It's not low, old Mrs. Sullivan arranged it. Maybe his supervisor gave him work that was too hard and he was worried about getting fired. But Olivia feels it's not that simple. What were the Lockwood family doing at the private kitchen restaurant? They were meeting Dr. Ray. Miss Cindy went for that reason too. And Dr. Ray, he never showed up in the end. Hearing this, a faint light shimmers in Olivia's deep eyes. A ridiculous idea begins to form. Inside the hospital room, Mrs. Lockwood looks much better after resting. Frank, let Cindy go home first. Frank looks awkward. Cindy is staying purely to wait for Dr. Ray. Mrs. Lockwood realizes this, hands me the phone. We need to apologize to Dr. Ray for missing today. After Mrs. Lockwood reschedules, Frank walks Cindy out. In the hallway, Frank says, Cindy, don't worry, there won't be any problem with Dr. Ray. There are a few tough characters in Sullivan Group's R&D department who don't accept me. If I can get Dr. Ray to join us, I'll have made a real contribution and secured my position. So Dr. Ray is very important to me, you have to convince him. The two enter the elevator. I step out from the corner and push open the hospital room door. Richard's face darkens instantly. What are you doing here? Get out. Is that Ryan? Let him in. Mrs. Lockwood's gentle voice rings out. Richard warns me not to upset his wife further. I told you, today wasn't because of Ryan. I just haven't slept well for days. Mrs. Lockwood scolds him gently and holds my hand. Child, you must have been scared today. Her palm is warm. I smile and say no. Come home more often. And your wife, your father said she's a thug, but I don't believe it. Ryan has had good judgment since childhood and a strong mind. Anyone you took a liking to must have her merits. Bring her to meet me sometime. My nose tingles. Okay. She starts coughing violently again. I pull out a plastic bottle. This is cough medicine I had someone buy. Take one when you can't sleep at night. Nods in agreement. As I leave the room, I hear Richard scornfully say inside, How can you be bought over by a bottle of medicine from some random clinic? He casually tosses the bottle into the trash. Late at night, Mrs. Lockwood wakes up coughing again. So anxious she has thoughts of ending her life. By some impulse, she fishes the medicine out of the trash and takes one pill. A wave of coolness instantly wraps around her itchy throat, and she drifts off into sleep. At 10 the next morning, Mrs. Lockwood is woken by Richard. She actually slept until full daylight. Madam, the sleeping pills the doctor gave you yesterday really worked. You slept a full 10 hours. Nanny Nancy is so excited her eyes turn red. What sleeping pills? Mrs. Lockwood is confused. Nancy looks at Frank. Cindy got them for you, specifically found strong sleeping pills and added them to your medicine. Didn't expect it to actually work. Mrs. Lockwood pauses. She notices her throat feels much clearer, but her gaze falls on the unlabeled plastic bottle by her pillow. Richard heaps praise on his future daughter-in-law. This daughter-in-law is really wonderful. I heard the inpatient ward has been full lately, and it was Cindy who pulled many strings to arrange this room. We owe her a lot. Frank presses his advantage. Mom, Cindy has been so good to you. You should help her too. Her family wants Cindy to manage the research and development department, but those researchers won't accept her. If we could invite Dr. Ray to be an external technical consultant, Cindy could secure her position. Mrs. Lockwood hesitates, then says, Then I'll ask Dr. Ray. but if he doesn't agree, leave it be. Frank smiles broadly. As far as he's concerned, as long as Mrs. Lockwood asks, Dr. Ray has never refused. Mrs. Lockwood takes out her phone, finds Dr. Ray's profile photo, chooses her words carefully, and sends a message. Ray, do you have time? I'd like to ask a favor. When I get the message, I've just come back from walking old Mrs. Sullivan downstairs. I frown. What could Mrs. Lockwood want from me? Could it be that there's something wrong with yesterday's medicine? That drug is still in the clinical trial stage. I only took it out early because she's seriously ill. I get anxious, ask the caretaker to take old Mrs. Sullivan home, and rush over to Mrs. Lockwood's room. Soon I reach the hospital room, only to find Cindy and Linda already there. The cheerful laughter cuts off the moment I walk in. I feel out of place. Seeing that Mrs. Lockwood is okay, I lower my eyes and turn to leave. But Linda speaks up. Isn't this Mr. Ryan? Since you've climbed up to old Mrs. Sullivan's high branch, the rest of us aren't worthy of your attention anymore? I turn to leave, but she grabs me by the arm. I heard you're focused on flattering old Mrs. Sullivan. Serving her all night long. You think she'll treat you like her real grandson? What kind of daydream is that? You're just their plaything. Frank quickly says, don't say that. Old Mrs. Sullivan really values Ryan. Linda raises her voice. What kind of valuing is that? Frank, the way Miss Cindy values someone like you, that's what real value looks like. She turns ingratiatingly toward Cindy. I heard yesterday there weren't any rooms available in the hospital. Even families with good backgrounds had to wait in line. It was all Miss Cindy's help that got Madam into the very important person room. Cindy looks at me with a humble smile. Auntie Olivia probably doesn't know about this, otherwise she'd have helped too. I just did what little I could. Even if Miss Sullivan knew, she wouldn't bother thinking about you. Linda mocks me again. No matter how hard you try to please them, they just treat you like a pet cat or dog. I clench my fists, not wanting to argue in the hospital room. Outside the door, Olivia, who has just arrived, hears every word, her face turning cold. Liam immediately understands his boss's intent. He clears his throat and walks straight in. Mrs. Lockwood, I'm here on behalf of Miss Sullivan to check on you. Is this hospital room comfortable for you? The room falls dead silent. Everyone looks at Cindy, who's stunned. Linda freezes, then smiles. Cindy, so this room was arranged through Miss Sullivan at your request. Cindy's face stiffens, but Liam smiles. Mr. Ryan requested the boss to arrange it. Miss Cindy, did you also ask the boss? Cindy wishes she could find a hole to crawl into. I made many calls and asked many people. I misunderstood. Frank clenches his fists, feeling utterly humiliated. Mrs. Lockwood breaks the awkward atmosphere. Thank Miss Sullivan. The room is very comfortable. Once I feel better, I'll visit old Mrs. Sullivan. Liam says, if you're comfortable, Mr. Ryan won't worry and old Mrs. Sullivan will be happy. Well, that's certainly flattering me. The few people in the room feel their hearts sink, while Mrs. Lockwood is genuinely happy. I turn toward Linda, my mockery fully on display. Linda is beside herself with rage. You wretched brat, what are you so smug about? Shut up, Richard scolds furiously. My wife is sick and needs rest. What are you barking about here? Get back home. Linda glares at me hatefully, covers her face, and runs off. I look at the bed. Madam, how did you sleep last night? Mrs. Lockwood subconsciously grips the small medicine bottle under the blanket. I slept very well. I haven't slept this well in a long time. That's good. I'll be going now. Liam and I leave the room. Olivia is leaning against the hallway wall, looking at her phone, the light and shadow framing her cool profile. Seeing me come out, she parts her lips. Grandma was worried about you, so she insisted I come in person to check too. Although her voice is distant, my heart warms. Thank you. The hospital room door opens and Cindy and Frank step out. Seeing me and Olivia standing together, Frank tenses as if facing a great enemy. Cindy instinctively questions, Auntie Olivia, what are you doing here? Olivia's eyes glint with amusement. My whereabouts don't seem to require reporting to you. Overwhelming pressure makes Cindy's palms sweat. She looks jealously at Olivia. Auntie, you've been taking care of great-grandma at the hospital all this time. Doesn't your husband mind? I'm a bit puzzled. I glance at Olivia and say with a half smile, he shouldn't mind. Cindy's face changes drastically. Olivia suddenly speaks. Let's go back to the room. Grandma is waiting. I smile softly. Let's go. We turn and leave, leaving Cindy with darkened eyes. She returns to Mrs. Lockwood's room. While tidying the bedding, she exclaims, Why is there a bottle of pills on the bed? Richard frowns. Isn't that the unmarked pills Ryan gave? Yes. Why did you pick it back up? I took one last night. It seemed to work. Mrs. Lockwood explains. Impossible. It was clearly the sleeping pills that worked. Richard snatches the medicine. His pills. Who knows where he bought them? What if they harm you? Don't trust him. I won't take those tonight. Let's see which medicine actually works. Late that night, Mrs. Lockwood again coughs violently and can't stop. Nancy holds the so-called miracle sleeping pills, only to find they don't work at all. Mrs. Lockwood's face turns red from coughing. Nancy rushes out and retrieves my medicine. Just as she's about to give it, Frank grabs her hand. Mom, could it be these pills that made the cough worse? Medicine of unknown origin shouldn't be taken. Richard also fumes. This Ryan. Sophia, you treated him so well, and he actually brings poison to harm you. Mrs. Lockwood coughs too hard to speak, her eyes locked on Nancy. Nancy is fiercely loyal. Despite the pressure, she pushes the medicine into Mrs. Lockwood's mouth, and the cough stops instantly. Mrs. Lockwood lets out a long sigh of relief, confirming Ryan's medicine works. They move to the outer room, Frank's face pale. Dad, Ryan actually got hold of a specialty drug. What capability could he have? He must have had Miss Sullivan help him get it. Richard frowns deeply. It seems old Mrs. Sullivan really does value him. In the very important person room, Olivia is chatting with Grandma. What did you eat for lunch? Old Mrs. Sullivan thinks for a long time. Porridge. No wait, it was noodles. Naughty girl, right? Olivia smiles and nods, but her heart sinks. Lunch was rice. Grandma forgot again. Her memory decline seems to be getting worse. I lazily speak up. Grandma, what color earrings did Olivia wear yesterday? Old Mrs. Sullivan answers immediately. I remember. The naughty girl is so particular she wore diamond cufflinks yesterday. And the day before? The day before was blue. I'm the one who bought her those blue earrings. I smile softly at Olivia with hidden meaning. Grandma remembers the things she cares about very clearly. Olivia looks at me. I'm sprawled in the beanbag playing with my phone, my posture relaxed. Knowing my words were meant to comfort her, her anxious heart seems to slowly ease. Old Mrs. Sullivan suddenly laughs. Grandson-in-law, what I just said was all correct, right? I nod. Yes. Naughty girl, did you see? My grandson-in-law even remembers what you wear every day so clearly. He really pays attention. He has feelings for you. I freeze. I just have a photographic memory. I really didn't memorize it on purpose. I'm about to explain, but Olivia is just staring at her computer, ignoring us. What I don't notice is the redness creeping up her ears. I continue researching materials on my phone. The final stage of the Alzheimer's drug still has no clear path forward. I stand up to take a walk. Just as I get downstairs to walk Kitty, someone taps me on the shoulder. I turn around. It's Linda's gambling addict brother, my so-called uncle, Larry. Ryan, long time no see. I step back. What are you doing here? I heard you've cozied up to the Sullivan family. I have been a bit short on cash lately. Could you lend me some money? I sneer. No money. You serve that old hag so well and she hasn't given you any cash? I narrow my eyes. Not yet. Maybe she'll give some later. Larry smirks slyly. When that happens, you have to lend me some. If you give enough, Uncle can tell you a secret. He chuckles and walks away. I scoff. Just then my phone rings. I look, and it's actually Mrs. Lockwood calling. Meanwhile, in another hospital room, Frank sees that Dr. Ray hasn't replied for a long time, and Cindy is pressuring him hard. So he takes Mrs. Lockwood's phone while she's asleep. In the contacts, he finds Ray and calls. The call connects. I clear my voice. Hello, Mrs. Lockwood, is something wrong? Frank freezes. Ryan? He stares in disbelief. He'd never mistake that voice. My heart sinks, my voice growing colder. Frank, what are you doing with Mrs. Lockwood's phone? This is your number? He's stammering. What nonsense are you talking? Frank suddenly realizes my nickname is also Ray. Mrs. Lockwood occasionally calls me that. He breathes a huge sigh of relief. Frank then adopts a vicious tone. I just wanted to tell you, even if you've latched onto Miss Sullivan through old Mrs. Sullivan, you're at best just a toy. Miss Sullivan has a husband, but I'm different. I'm going to marry Cindy in the future and become a legitimate son-in-law of the Sullivan family. Congratulations then, but in elite families, feelings aren't enough. I have Dr. Ray as my ace, so I'll always be undefeated. Hearing this, I directly hang up, my mouth twitching. Since when did I become Frank's ace? Right after, my Dr. Ray account pings with a notification. It's Frank again. I put it on speaker. Frank's tone is extremely respectful. Hello, Dr. Ray. Sorry to bother you. I'm Sophia's son, Frank. Sullivan Group would like to invite you to join their R&D team. This is also what my mother wishes. Are you interested? I cut him off coldly. I only serve companies under Mrs. Lockwood's name. Then I hang up. Come Monday, I return to Sullivan Group for work. Just as I leave the hospital and prepare to hail a cab, a car pulls up smoothly beside me. Olivia looks straight ahead. Get in. Grandma wants me to drive you to work. Olivia glances at me. We need a photo. I get in the back seat and she holds up her phone for a selfie. I flash a peace sign, smiling brightly. Olivia is momentarily dazed. At the company, I head straight for the 60th floor archives. Meanwhile, the R&D department is announcing a promotion that Cindy is being promoted to vice president. The reason being that she has supposedly recruited Dr. Ray. In the top floor office, Liam reports my whereabouts. His real reason for joining Sullivan is to look at research materials. He spent the whole morning in the library and hasn't eaten lunch. Olivia's eyes flash. She heads down alone to find me. At the neuroscience section bookshelf, I'm climbing a ladder to reach the top shelf. After grabbing the book, I'm thrilled. But I miss a step and fall, landing right on top of Olivia. Realizing who it is, I quickly get up. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Olivia takes a moment to compose herself, her ears red, pretending not to care. The atmosphere is awkward, so I make an excuse and slip away. Before leaving, I hide the important book in an inconspicuous corner. When I return to the library in the afternoon, I find the book is gone. I'm completely baffled, then realize there's only one person in the whole company who could just take the book. On the top floor, Olivia is flipping through the deep and complex neuroscience text, her brow furrowed. Liam mutters beside her, Boss, Ryan really doesn't appreciate kindness. He's not even here to work. That's right, he was never here to work in the first place, Olivia replies casually. Liam asks, should we return this book? Olivia taps her fingertips on the book, remembering my expectant doe eyes today. Her chest feels inexplicably warm. Not for now. After work, the car sits in the underground parking lot. Liam asks, Boss, shall we go? No rush. Olivia holds the thick book in her hand. Only when I get in the car does she look up and say, let's go. Liam is dazed. The boss didn't seem to have arranged to leave with Mr. Ryan. Back at the hospital, just as we reach the very important person room, we hear Linda's ingratiating voice. Old Mr. Sullivan, I came especially to see you. We really have a connection. Old Mrs. Sullivan blocks the doorway, staring at her. Get out. If you don't leave, I'll have someone beat you. Linda forces a smile. I'm Ryan's mother. Don't you love him most? For his sake, you shouldn't treat me this way. You're not his mother, old Mrs. Sullivan states firmly. Mrs. Lockwood is his mother. Linda instantly breaks out in a cold sweat. She instinctively asks, how do you know? She's terrified. The baby swap is known only to her and her brother Larry. How can old Mrs. Sullivan be so certain? Seeing Olivia and me approach, Linda nervously composes herself and walks up to me, handing over a thermal flask. Ryan, Mom brought you chicken soup. Taking care of old Mrs. Sullivan has been hard work. Eat more to recover. I find it mocking. What do you want? Still those last 2% shares? Old Mrs. Sullivan values you so much, if you ask, she'll definitely agree. Help your brother, otherwise he can't hold his head up in front of Cindy. My eyes turn ice cold. I won't help. Linda's face stiffens. She simply sits on the ground and wails, fine. I gave birth to you with great effort, and now that you've climbed the social ladder, you turn cold and heartless. Everyone come look. My son is an ungrateful brat, despising me for my low background, wanting to be someone else's grandson. Medical staff nearby point and whisper. I watch her impassively, the helplessness in my heart growing thicker. Make all the fuss you want. If you disturb other patients, security will throw you out. I walk past her. Linda erupts in fury. Ungrateful brat! She leaps up and hurls the chicken soup straight at me. Watch out! A pair of cool hands pulls me into an embrace. Olivia shields me from behind, taking all the scalding heat. My pupils contract. I quickly ask, are you okay? Fine. Her brow furrows slightly as she watches Linda flee in panic. Entering the room, old Mrs. Sullivan tugs at her clothes. Olivia, take it off quickly. Let me see how badly you're burned. Any blisters? Does it hurt? Grandson-in-law, come apply the medicine for her. Old Mrs. Sullivan shoves the medicine into my hands and chases everyone else out. I'm leaving her in your hands. Only the two of us remain in the room. Olivia says quietly, it's Grandma acting up. Let me call the nurse. I'll do it. I walk behind her. The evening light falls on her back. I dab ointment on my fingertips and gently apply it. She doesn't make a sound until the medicine is fully applied. She fixes her hair. Mr. Ryan, thank you. You're welcome. Actually, you didn't have to shield me. If you got hurt, Grandma would be very upset. Olivia looks at me steadily. Have you forgotten you're my husband right now? My heart skips a beat. Olivia seems a bit different now. I'm going out for a bit. To do what? Revenge. I plan to find Linda, but in the corridor I spot Frank and Uncle Larry. Larry rubs his hands. Dear Frank, I'm a bit short on cash. Frank suppresses his anger. I already gave you this month's allowance. I'm at the end of my rope. If you don't give me money, I'll spill the truth. Ryan would definitely give a large sum. I push the door open, my voice cold. What truth? Frank jumps in shock. Ryan, what are you doing? Eavesdropping? I point at Larry and continue. What truth? I can give you money. How much? Larry's eyes light up. Frank panics. The money you want, I'll figure out a way, okay? Before leaving, Larry whispers to me, Ryan, my secret is always available to you. As long as you pay enough, I'll sell it to you. I message Jenny to investigate Larry's background. I turn back to see Frank about to leave. I say casually, if you don't want people to know, don't do it. You think I won't find out what's between you and Larry? Frank stiffens. What are you talking about? I don't understand. What kind of leverage does he have over you that you give him money every month? Stop making things up. I'd advise you, if you have the energy, think about your own way out. Don't waste time on me. Where's Linda? She's your mother. How would I know? Frank quickly flees. I call Linda. I need you to come back and apologize to me. No, Miss Sullivan won't let me off. You apologize for me. You're my son. You should pay my debts. If that's the case, don't blame me for calling the police. Why would you call the police? I'm your mother. The one I want to hit is you. A mother hitting her child is only natural. I hang up directly. For injuring Olivia, Linda is eventually detained for 48 hours. Back at the hospital room, Olivia is downstairs in a vehicle holding a meeting. I sit by the bed. Sorry. Old Mrs. Sullivan waves her hand. Grandson-in-law, why are family members saying things like this? Besides, seeing the naughty girl defend you makes me overjoyed. We are family. Those 3 words, we are family, make my eyes warm. At this moment, Frank scrapes together 50,000 yuan and wires it to Larry with a note. Keep your mouth shut or neither of us ends well. His heart is full of fear. He just wants to marry Cindy as soon as possible. Once he becomes a Sullivan son-in-law, even if his identity is exposed, he'll still have a way out. At 9 in the evening, Cindy suddenly comes looking for Frank. Frank is pleasantly surprised. Cindy, what brings you here? Cindy demands sternly. About Dr. Ray, are you sure you've worked things out with him? Frank's eyes flicker. Of course. Then arrange a meeting between me and Dr. Ray. Frank nervously fiddles with his fingers. Dr. Ray went abroad. I'll arrange it when he comes back. Is there a problem you need solved? I'll contact him for you. Cindy stares at him suspiciously. I sent the problem to your email. Forward it to Dr. Ray and ask him to help solve it. Okay, I'll forward it right now. Frank knows Mrs. Lockwood's email like the back of his hand. She noticed that Dr. Ray always replies to Mrs. Lockwood instantly and never asks questions, which is why she dared to lie. She works on her phone and forwards it immediately. Dr. Ray usually replies to me within seconds. Cindy, just wait a moment. In the very important person room, my phone buzzes. I glance at it. It's an email from Mrs. Lockwood. Ray, could you help solve this problem? The attachment turns out to be Sullivan Group's technical challenge. I scoff. Frank is using Mrs. Lockwood's name to ask for my help. I reply coldly, I only serve the Lockwood family. Sullivan Group's problems are not my concern. Frank's notification sounds, and he opens the email with a smile, which freezes the moment he sees the content. Cindy frowns. What's wrong? Frank suppresses his nerves with a strained smile. Dr. Ray said this problem will take a few days to solve. Cindy breathes a sigh of relief. That's normal. This problem is indeed difficult. I bet with people from Ryan's group that we'd have a solution before Friday. No problem, right? No problem. But Frank's eyes flicker. Cindy returns to the Sullivan estate. Her father Eric, for the first time ever, smiles at her. You truly are my good daughter. You actually managed to recruit Dr. Ray, securing your position in research and development department so quickly. Her mother May is also moved to tears. Cindy clenches her fists. Having chosen the path of strategic marriage, she will never regret it. As for Frank, he's just her pawn. On the other side, I sneeze and continue my work. Suddenly a cup is placed in front of me. Olivia has brought a glass of water and set it on the side table. I'm slightly stunned. Thanks. You're welcome, just doing it on my way. Olivia naturally sits back in her seat. Old Mrs. Sullivan watches us, grinning from ear to ear. She's already flipping through a dictionary to name her great-grandchild. The next day at the R&D department, Cindy stops me in the break area. There's a new energy industry conference tonight. Everyone attending is an industry heavyweight. I heard Dr. Ray might attend too. I don't slow down. So? Sullivan Group R&D has invitations. I can take you to broaden your horizons and meet more people. No thank you. I head into the office without looking back. Team lead Lynn scoffs. Trying to buy him over with one invitation? Ryan isn't that short-sighted. Cindy says coldly, you should understand I can offer him better resources, that kind of gathering. Do you think just anyone can go? At least I can take him. At the end of the workday, Lynn calls me over. There's a work event tonight, come with me. I don't think much of it. I send Olivia a message about working late and get in Lynn's car. At the gala entrance, the attendant stops Lynn. Sorry, Miss Lynn, Sullivan Group already registered who'd attend today. Your name isn't on the list. Cindy walks out with a champagne glass, her eyes narrowing. Team lead Lynn, given Team B's R&D workload, I assumed you wouldn't come, so I declined your spot when registering. It's a bit late to add you now. You should just go back. Lynn boils with fury. Cindy, that's outrageous. What right do you have to decline for me? I'm the Vice President of Research and Development Department. Of course I can make decisions for you. Cindy turns to me. Ryan, do you see clearly? Without my approval, you can't even get through this door. I look up calmly. Really? I take out the digital invitation Jenny sent to my email and hand it to the attendant. Can I go in now? The attendant takes one look and respectfully steps aside. Please come in. Cindy's face changes drastically as she stares at the personalized invitation on my phone. What identity did you use to get this invitation? None of your business. I close the screen and say to Lynn, let's go. Lynn is overjoyed. After I enter the venue and start exchanging pleasantries with industry leaders, Frank and Cindy walk over. Some senior executives, seeing Frank, immediately crowd around him. Mr. Frank, when exactly will Dr. Ray make an appearance? We'd love to consult him. Frank basks in the attention, feigning modesty. Today I'm just accompanying my fiancé. Cindy uses the opportunity to network. Lynn is pushed to the margins, whispering to me, Jenny will be here later. Don't be shy. Be bold and go offer a toast. So many people want to meet her. My mouth twitches. I'll introduce you later. Lynn takes it as bragging. Just then, there's a commotion at the entrance. Jenny has arrived. Frank confidently adjusts his suit and walks toward me. Ryan, do you need me to introduce you to Director Jenny? Cindy chimes in with sarcasm. You think Jenny is the type who falls for looks? Countless handsome men have approached her, and she's been unmoved by all of them. Don't overestimate your charm. This is before he can finish. Jenny sweeps past them like a gust of wind. Under the entire room's shocked gaze, she rushes excitedly up to me. Boss, what are you doing here? The scene plunges the room into dead silence. Frank's extended hand freezes in midair, his smile not having time to fade before it freezes into ridiculous horror. Cindy is even more dumbfounded, nearly dropping her champagne glass. Director Jenny, are you mistaken? Frank stammers. He's Ryan, just a nobody in our family. Jenny doesn't even acknowledge him, her eyes blazing only at me. Boss, I sent dozens of emails asking you to attend, and you always said you were busy. Turns out you came on an incognito visit. I smile helplessly. I'm here with a leader on some private business. Boss? Cindy shrieks, her voice cracking. Jenny, you call him boss? Isn't he that kept man Ryan with a thug wife? Jenny turns coldly, her eyes like knives. Miss Cindy, watch yourself. Standing before you is the technical genius your Sullivan Group has been desperately seeking, and the legendary Dr. Ray who has never appeared in public. A suppressed gasp ripples through the crowd. Impossible! Frank completely loses composure, pointing at me and roaring. Dr. Ray has clearly been in contact with my mom all this time. How could he be this illegitimate son? Ryan, what did you offer Jenny to make her come with you? I step forward, looking at him coldly. Frank, you stole Mrs. Lockwood's phone to send emails. Did you really think I wouldn't know? The line, I only serve the Lockwood family. Didn't you just receive that? Frank's face turns instantly pale. His legs give way, and he collapses to the floor. Cindy sways unsteadily. He looks at me, his eyes filled with regret and absurdity. He'd always thought I was struggling in the mud, so he tried to humiliate me with 50,000 yuan. But in a blink, I've become the god he must look up to. Just then, a commotion erupts at the door, and Mrs. Lockwood actually walks in, supported by Nancy. Her complexion is rosy, her step steady, with no trace of yesterday's illness. Ryan, Mrs. Lockwood walks straight to me, tears in her eyes. That medicine was made by you yourself, wasn't it? I nod. Are you feeling better? Wonderful. Mrs. Lockwood turns to Richard and Linda, her voice cool and firm. Richard, haven't you always wanted to meet Dr. Ray? He's right here, and my trusted aide Chen has told me the truth about what happened back then. Nancy steps forward, staring at Linda. Linda, did you think swapping babies at the hospital could be hidden forever? I've been investigating and observing you all these years. I watched you closely. A woman who completely ignores her own son yet shows abnormal devotion to someone else's son. I knew something was off long ago. I already had the DNA test done. She throws out a report. Richard takes it with trembling hands. After reading the result, he whips around and slaps Linda across the face. How dare you swap your bastard child for my son? Linda screams and collapses completely. Frank stares at the report, crying out in despair. No, I'm the young master of the Lockwood family. I'm the heir. I watch all this with cold detachment. Identity, wealth, bloodline, the things that once shackled me, now feel as light as a feather in my eyes. Boss, the car is ready, Jenny reminds me softly. I turn to leave when a hand gently grasps mine. Olivia has appeared behind me at some point. She has changed into an ink-black dress, the burn on her back hidden under the fabric, but the way she looks at me has none of its former coldness. Ryan, she says softly with a touch of dependence even she herself doesn't notice. Grandma is still waiting for us at the hospital. I look at her, and the softest place in my heart is gently struck. Okay, let's go home. As we walk out of the banquet hall, Cindy rushes out tearful and pitiful. Ryan, I was wrong. Can we go back to how we were in college? My steps don't slow. Without turning my head, I leave a single line. Cindy, you once said an illegitimate son and a thug make a perfect match. I think you and Frank, as he is now, are truly the perfect match. Behind me are Cindy's hopeless sobs, and ahead is the dazzling Haicheng City night. In the car, Olivia suddenly asks, when are you going to return that neuroscience book to me? I raise an eyebrow at her. Are you interrogating me, Miss Sullivan? She turns her face toward the window, her ears slightly red. I'm worried that if you, Dr. Ray, ever leave one day, Grandma will tear Sullivan Group apart. I laugh helplessly and casually wrap my arm around her shoulders. This time she doesn't pull away. Relax, the contract hasn't expired yet. Besides, I haven't officially become your husband yet. 3 months later, on the day the Alzheimer's clinical drug is successfully developed, Haicheng City has its first autumn rain. When I come out of the lab, I see Olivia standing at the entrance, holding a black umbrella, wearing that ink-black dress I've seen so many times. She seems to have been waiting a long time, with fine raindrops clinging to the tips of her hair. Grandma asked me to pick you up, she says, still in that flat tone. But I can now see a hint of something different on that usually expressionless face. Her ears are red again. I walk over and naturally take the umbrella, pulling her under it with me. Miss Sullivan herself coming to pick me up, I'm flattered. She glances at me, says nothing, but doesn't pull away. The car heads toward the Sullivan estate. On the way, she suddenly speaks. That divorce agreement. I turn to look at her. She pauses, her gaze falling on the rain rushing past the window. Her voice is so soft it sounds like she's talking to herself. Grandma tore it up. I freeze for a moment, then laugh. So what do we do? Olivia pauses, showing a rare hint of embarrassment. Grandma said she finally found me a grandson-in-law and won't let us divorce. I say nothing, just looking at her. She finally turns her face toward me, meeting my gaze. Outside the window, the rain patters softly, and inside the car it's quiet enough to hear each other breathe. Her eyes look like fallen starlight after the rain. Ryan! She calls my name, her voice cool but carrying a softness even she doesn't notice. Your medicine has been given to Grandma. The first treatment cycle begins tonight. She nods, falls silent for a moment, then adds, Thank you. I look at her, suddenly wanting to tease her. Just a verbal thanks? She freezes for a moment, seemingly not expecting me to say that. That always frosty face actually shows a hint of bewilderment. I laugh, reach out and ruffle her hair. Just teasing. She glares at me but doesn't pull away from my hand. The car stops at the entrance of the Sullivan estate. The rain has stopped, and a strip of sunset shows on the horizon. Old Mrs. Sullivan is already waiting at the door. Seeing us step out, she immediately greets us with a beaming smile, taking my hand with one of hers and Olivia's with the other, pulling us into the house. Quick, we've been waiting to start dinner. At the dinner table, old Mrs. Sullivan picks food for me one moment, and for Olivia the next, muttering, Grandson-in-law, eat more. Naughty girl, you too. You've both gotten thin. For once, Olivia doesn't object to being called naughty girl. She just eats quietly, occasionally glancing up at me. After dinner, old Mrs. Sullivan pulls us out to sit in the courtyard and drink tea. The sunset paints the whole courtyard a warm orange, and the air smells of earth after rain. Old Mrs. Sullivan suddenly says, Grandson-in-law, naughty girl, I want to tell you something. Olivia and I look at her at the same time. Old Mrs. Sullivan is smiling, but there's a glimmer in her eyes. I remembered. I'm stunned. How you two got the marriage certificate, I remembered. It turns out our marriage certificate was all arranged by old Mrs. Sullivan. We were registered passively, without knowing. Old Mrs. Sullivan smiles at me. Grandson-in-law, you won't blame me, will you? I look at Olivia, then at old Mrs. Sullivan, and suddenly laugh. I don't blame you. Old Mrs. Sullivan nods with satisfaction, looks at us both, and suddenly says, Then when are you two going to have the wedding? Olivia can't sit still anymore and stands up to leave. Old Mrs. Sullivan grabs her. Where are you running? You're already married. Why so shy? I watch this scene with a smile, suddenly feeling this is the life I've always wanted. Olivia finally breaks free from old Mrs. Sullivan's grip, walks over to me and says softly, Let's go. I stand up and say goodbye to old Mrs. Sullivan. She waves with a smile and secretly slips me a note. In the car, I open the note. It reads, "Grandson-in-law, if the naughty girl bullies you, tell me and I'll deal with her for you." I can't help but laugh. Olivia leans over to look. After reading, she's silent for 2 seconds, then says, "Grandma has nice handwriting." I turn to look at her. She meets my gaze and suddenly asks, "Ryan, what are you laughing at?" I look at her and say earnestly, "Laughing at how lucky I am." She freezes. "What?" "Without spending a single cent, I got a wife," I say. Though it was fake, it seems like it's about to become real now. She stares at me for several seconds, then looks away toward the window, but I see the slight curve at the corner of her lips. The car slowly drives into the night, the lights of Haicheng City flowing past the window. "Olivia," I call to her. "Do you have time tomorrow?" She turns to look at me. I look back at her, my eyes filled with a smile. "Let's tear up that divorce agreement." She's silent for 2 seconds, then softly hums in agreement. The sound is light, yet heavier than any promise in this world. Outside, the night deepens, but for me, the night has only just begun.